Matt will get you all caught up on the latest War of the Bounty Hunters happenings before disappointing Star Wars gaming fans. The show will start winding down with a look at some hot new collectibles, and then it's time to head for home with this week's fan segment, including Question of the Week responses, and a new batch of Top 5 Star Wars Fan Artist features. Punch it, Chewie!
In my kitchen.
Hey now everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of the Star Wars Time Show, and boy oh boy is it going to be a special one. Those of you on the live stream, you can probably already see why, but those of you listening on the audio only platforms, I'll fill you in. It's a special show, not because Nick and I are special people, it's because we are joined by some Star Wars royalty from the prequels era in the form of Mr. Nick Gillard, who was the stunt coordinator and sword master of the prequel trilogy. So welcome, Nick, to the show. It's awesome to have you here. We'll clap him in a little bit. All right. So again, it's just, this is a treat for people like myself and Nick to have you on the show, Nick Gillard. So again, thank you for your time. Thank you for, taking an hour or so to talk with us two knuckleheads over here in the States.
Oh, yeah. I was just saying, you two look really professional.
Well, good. See, he said it. He said it live. So there's a new clipping feature on YouTube. Go ahead and our fans, the super fans, get it clipped, put it out there. We have someone from Star Wars who thinks we look professional, but it won't take them too long, or it won't take Nick too long to figure out that we aren't professional at all. All right, Nick. So let's get into it. Someone that grew up. I mean, I was in my 20s when the prequels came out, and you're someone that I identified. You were like one of the all-stars of the behind-the-scenes content for all three of the prequel films. Nick, partner Nick, I think you can agree. But to me, watching those behind the scenes, it always seemed like it was Nick Gillard, Rick McCallum, or like Ben Burt. So it's just surreal to be sitting here talking to you right now as someone that, appreciates the art of filmmaking, has some other friends that are in the stunt business. So I know a little bit about what you guys get into, but I don't know. I recollect my memories from the prequel eras, watching the behind the scenes. I believe Mr. Gillard was the star of those BTS clips. I feel like they followed you around the most when they were making those, or am I crazy?
That was the sort of start of it. That's when they first started appearing on the sets. Like with any Venom, they did it properly on Star Wars. And yeah, of course they did, because we do the fun stuff, and you can only film so much of making a costume. So
that's right.
So they hung out with us, and we welcomed it. We were allowed to have fun in those days, so we did it every opportunity.
Yeah, it always looked to me like you and Ewan, you and Liam, you and Hayden, and even Sam Jackson. It just always looked like you guys were having a party. Choreographing out the fights, the sword fights, any of the other action sequences. So yeah, that doesn't make sense that you guys probably were where the fun was at when those BTS peoples had their cameras out, trying to find some good stuff for the Blu-rays, or hell, back in those days it was still DVDs, I think.
DVDs,
the prequel era.
But it's also it doesn't happen now. You're on a movie where they let you do your job. It's the biggest indie movie in the world back then, and they hopefully pick the right heads of department, and then they let you do it. They don't tell you how to do it, and
right.
They also let you have fun.
So getting into I don't know if other Star Wars fans have a clear understanding of the body of work that Nick has completed, or is still working on in his career. I mean, looking over his filmography, which we have his website up right now. I encourage everyone to check it out, danger-inc.com. It has Mr. Gillard's filmographies up there. And I'm telling you right now, if you are, someone in the geekdom and you're in the pop culture and have been for decades, you're going to be like, holy shit, he was in that. He was in that. He was in that too. But Mr. Gillard, again, to me, looking at your filmography, would you say your first big production was Superman in terms of you being involved in it?
Yeah, it was actually. It was the first movie I officially did as a stunt person. Over here, you have to qualify. It's very difficult. You have to be like an instructor in 6 sports, and then you have to do an apprentice for like 10 years under a stunt coordinator.
Wow!
And that was I did The Thief of Baghdad in 1977. I come out the circus. I used to ride horses, and I still do ride horses when I can catch them. But, and I did the job in 1977, and that's what sort of got me interested in it. And so, I went through the qualifications, became a stunt person, and Superman 1 was my first one.
Yeah, I mean, you were in.
I was telling somebody the other day, my first memory on my first day on Superman 1 was walking into the costume truck, and the costume designer was swigging half a bottle of vodka at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I thought, wow, yeah.
Welcome to the film industry.
Yeah, this production's going well, right? Oh, that is hilarious. Do you remember your gag from that movie? Were you just like a goon that Superman beat up, or?
Actually, I can't. All I can remember of Superman 1, I did, I think, 4 of them in the end. I ended up doubling Lex Luthor's nephew or something. But Superman 1, all I can remember is we were in Times Square in England. They built it. It was the biggest set I've ever seen. It was like a mile. And there was crap dropping down. I can't even remember why, but they were dropping a concrete block onto a 911 Porsche, I remember. And they had 6 Porsches, and they had 3 of them that they'd taken the engines out at least, but they hadn't got the shot after 3, so they just were dropping concrete blocks on brand new Porsches. And at the time I was driving a $30 car. It was
right. You're probably, hey, can I just have one of these?
Exactly.
Can we swap it? Can you drop it on my car? I'll take the Porsche.
But I mean, here's just we're obviously going to talk about the Star Wars stuff, but here are some of Nick's other credits that I just think people are going to be like, holy shit. I mean, Alien 3, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Willow, Labyrinth, where he doubled Jareth, Interview with a Vampire, where you're doubling Cruise, a lot of the James Bond movies, Waterworld. I know people laugh at Waterworld, but it's like a cult classic at this point in time.
That's a massive production.
Well, a lot of action sequences, if anything else, in Waterworld. A lot of the jet ski stuff. I bet that was interesting to work on because it was all kind of water-based stunt work, right? I mean, yeah, there was some on-deck fighting and whatnot, but
it was tough. It was 11 months in Hawaii.
Oh,
2 shots a day. It was brutal.
Yeah.
So how much time did you spend on the beach with coconuts and with Lays and all of that?
I don't actually remember doing any stunts. So I remember a lot of coconuts.
Yeah.
And beach. Yeah, it was loved that job.
That's the perfect job.
I also did not just Alien 3. I did Alien 1, 2, and 3, and
there you
Indiana
go.
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
I was the Alien Queen in Aliens.
Awesome. So, like I said, I mean, I know a lot of people, we as Star Wars fans, we kind of get our blinders on, and we all know who you are, and we praise you and applaud your work, and really what you did for sword fighting and Star Wars in general. Because before Nick Gillard kind of put his spin on it, I mean, some of the sword fights in the original trilogy, they have some emotional meaning to us, but they weren't the flashiest type of fights. You're like, okay, these guys were supposed to be these crazy skillful warriors based on samurai, and we didn't really get any of that in the trilogy. And then obviously with the prequels and what you did, we kind of got to see what Jedi or Sith could be. One question though, before we get into Star Wars, I got to ask, because he's kind of become like the actor's stuntman, if you will. What was it like working with Cruise, Tom Cruise, that is, and was he still doing as much of his own stunt work back then, or is this something he's kind of started doing now, the older he gets and the more he's worth?
It's you know, it baffles me, this, because I doubled him a lot when he was young. When he was young, I was young too. But the first time I think was Legend, the Ridley Scott movie, and I don't think he was famous then. I don't think Risky Business had come out.
Right.
I know he certainly didn't have a driver when we were doing that movie, and I used to go and pick him up in my $30 car.
That's great.
Right up, I know. Right up till Far and Away. Interview the Vampire, I think the last time I worked with him, he wouldn't go anywhere near a stunt. I mean,
really?
He wouldn't even shoot a gun. Once on Far and Away, we were in makeup, and they really wanted him to shoot this musket. And the director came in, Ron came in, and he said, absolutely not. See his name, he's stunt Nick Gillard, that's who fires the gun. So being strapped on the side of an aeroplane, I don't know what. Yeah. I don't know what come of it.
Maybe there's something to say for Scientology after all, but I don't know. It's like he feels like a Superman these days, because I don't even know how the studios green light him doing this stuff, considering how much he's worth to the potential box office. But hey,
I don't understand. I mean, I do shows now where TV. Let me just get rid of that. Hold on.
No problem.
It's a stunt man looking for a job.
Probably. That's how they are.
I do shows now where I got called in recently for two actors shouting at each other. That's how seriously they take their safety these days.
Oh, because of COVID. I got you.
This was before COVID.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why I was there. They just shouted at each other.
they didn't want them to throw their back out, exert too much energy.
Hey,
you have to shout this way.
I know how much.
Diaphragm.
I know how much you guys can make just for a day's worth of work. So I mean,
I'm willing to go there. But that's exactly what I wanted to say. That much money for two actors shouting. And when I left, the director said, thank you so much, Nick.
It's like, call me anytime. Anytime somebody yells, give me a call.
Easy money, might get some residuals from the job. It is, because the friend I was talking about, he's more into the Marvel universe these days. Did some of the Netflix Marvel stuff, but he sent me a shot last week. I don't know what set they're on, but he's like, "Bro, we've been sitting here for 12 hours today, in the heat, doing nothing, but I'm getting paid my rate." And I was like, "Yeah, well,
it's soul destroying though." It
is.
There are guys that go on shows here now, and they sit there for 2 months.
Yeah.
Fit young people doing nothing. I'm doing a Marvel thing next after this.
Oh, really? Wow. Like, anything? Can you elaborate much on? Is it still top secret?
It's a reshoot. They're reshooting a whole fight sequence that didn't work. But yeah, I certainly won't be sitting on my arse all day.
Yeah, it's because
maybe it was Eric's fight scene. You should yell at him. Just be like, "Look, Nick had to come fix it."
Yeah, you had to get a real stunt coordinator in there to do the job right. All right, so Nick, how did the Star Wars gig come about? Was it from your connections? Because you were working on some Lucasfilm properties with Indiana Jones and whatnot. Did you kind of link to the prequels that way, or did you come into the job through another route?
It's hard to say, really, with Lucasfilm. I'd worked for them a lot, and I got on well with them. And at the time, or just before it, I was doing the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. I'd done a couple of those in Morocco, which had sword fights, and I don't know if that had anything. I don't know. I just got a call. They tend to Lucasfilm, the old one, tended to book people Not so much if they were the best in the world, but if they get on with other HODs, if they were conspirators, if they could work together. Because we were together for like 7 years on those things, the 6 HODs. And yeah, so I don't think they picked me because I'm particularly good, but because they thought I'd be collaborative with the other HODs.
Was that through Rick McCallum then? Because didn't he run the Young Indie?
Yeah, Rick. It was all those days. It was Rick McCallum?
Yeah,
Lucasfilm. See Rick McCallum.
Now, when you got the gig, was it something like, hell yeah, this is going to be great, or did you look at it as like, it's another job, it's going to be 10 years plus, that might be a life suck, or were you pretty jazzed to get the Star Wars movies?
I'm old, so I loved the first ones. Not as much as I love the prequels, obviously. But,
yeah, there you go.
Yep.
I know we all know there's 3 camps here, but the prequels obviously are the best one. But I liked, I was a fan of the first ones, and so for it to land in your lap, it's exciting because every movie you look at, you think you can do it better. And so to get a chance, no one ever thought that chance was going to come again. And sort of when it did, I think the first one we didn't take it seriously enough, which is probably why it was good. Because it had been 30 years since the last one. The scripts were odd, like they always are. There's a lot you have to work out. And we all had a brilliant time and didn't take it that seriously.
It's interesting.
I determined to treat it like a television show I used to do, and I sort of still do. I used to do a long-running cop show called The Bill. It ran for like 20 years, and that's where I learnt my business. And so I treated it like I treat most jobs like an episode of that. I don't take it seriously. I don't get brought up in the politics. I'm not interested in how famous people are. Get the job done. And Lucasfilm then allowed you to do that.
It's pretty incredible that you say that, because episode 1 is known for like the most iconic fight you've ever seen in Star Wars, at the end with Liam and with Ewan and then with Rey. I mean, that fight is just legendary. So much so that, not 2-3 months ago, Dave Filoni comes on the behind the scenes in The Mandalorian and says that basically all of Star Wars that we know is built around that fight.
Yeah,
and
the Duel of the Fates
you guys
fight. Like the guy's never offered me a job since.
Well, we're going to help with that.
Call him up. Yeah.
Hey, Dave, you want to base it around something new? Give me a call.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. We'll make that pitch to him. I just want to clarify. I want this on record because I believe I heard Nick say that he personally thinks The Phantom Menace is the best prequel. Is that correct? Did I hear that?
Maybe.
Or am I? Yeah, you.
Me.
Yeah, Mr. Gallard.
Well, yes, I do actually.
Yes, me too. See, we told you.
I do for this reason, that it was made for 5 to 14-year-olds at the time. It wasn't made for fanboys. It was made for 5 to 14. It was made for, like when I was a kid, it was the same. And for that, and I have guys now, like I work with actors now, 25, like that, and they come up and they loved it. That was their world. And, and as you say, the making of. So there was a guy at work the other day, a lovely young man working on camera, and I was, I'm working on a TV show at the moment. Don't get me wrong, that's what I love. But I was lugging 2 crash mats down the road in London, and this guy said, "Oh my God, you're Nick Gillard." And I went, "Yeah." And he said, "You're the reason I got in this business." He said, "Watching the making of things." And so that's what it's about. So never mind what you think about the original or these new ones. They're made of a time and for a people. And for that reason, yes, it was the best one.
Thank you. I've been screaming that for years, and no one believes me. So I'm glad that you have confirmed my belief.
Yeah, I think it had. It's got the best cast. It's got the best. It just said the best everything because George was there, and George is on the set every day. And if you have that kind of power on the set every day, you can get shit done.
Yeah.
Speaking of George being there every day, I had a question. Did he, in terms of the action sequences, fight scenes in particular, how much freedom did he give you, or did he have the beats in his head?
Oh, total. He was brilliant with it because he. That's what I say about them booking the right people.
Okay.
And, it's hard for him to give up stuff because he's over it all. And of course, when we did Phantom Menace, that Darth Maul fight, I had that fight anyway. I had most of that fight anyway, not for something else, but just for something that I was thinking about. And
the desert or the final fight, the Duel of Fates or the desert fight?
The Obi Maul part of the Obi Maul Qui-Gon.
All right.
Okay.
But that was a much more elaborate thing that you've never seen, involving a lot of wire work.
Ooh.
Which we shot. And we shot as a test, and we got Ray in, who at the time was just a local gymnast. And we were trying to sell Ray to George. So we shot that fight for a couple of days and then took it to George, and he passed it. And once he passed it, that's it. Then he just left me alone. He just told me the times.
So, I mean, you would get the script and be like, fight. And he'd be like, all right, Nick, you figure it out. You have this many minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
It would be a very brief description, and then he would just tell me the time.
Yeah, because you guys, I'm trying to think, you really didn't have previs for stunts as it's used today back then, where you could...
Actually, we did.
Okay.
I shot it. I shot it on my little camera, and then I'd cut it on my computer. I've got them all. I've got all of those. I've got all the fights that you've never seen.
You got to release like a special hits,
I've got the Obi-Verse of 6 bodyguards all the way through. I've got the Mace double fight, the fight with Mace and the double, because we had to use Ian on the day. Ian didn't even know the fight on the day.
Right.
And we had to get through that fight. I've got stuff you wouldn't believe.
Well, yeah, maybe off air, he'll send us some clips and we'll describe them to you. Star Wars Time Show Nation.
Special preview.
Hey, would Lucasfilm come and cart you away if those things made it out into the light of day?
Well, I don't think so. No, there'd have to be. There would have to be a few of them come.
Yeah, I don't think one exec can take you on his own for sure.
Well, you brought it up. I have a couple. I don't want to do too many fanboy questions, but I do have one because you brought it up. Now, do you believe that Mace Windu actually beat Palpatine, or was Palpatine kind of playing loose to trick him into a false sense of relaxation?
Yes, he was. Yeah. It's a tough call because I know there's big debate online about who's who in the rankings. But at that time, with the information available at that time, yes, Palpatine, as much as I love Sam, and Sam to me is second only to Yoda, Palpatine would have creamed him.
Yeah, look at that. Here we go.
Every time. He has to.
Beautiful. All right, while I'll give you one more. I've a couple more fanboys, but while we're on it, who was the better sword fighter, Obi-Wan or Anakin?
At what point?
Revenge of the Sith.
End.
Yeah, at the end of the Clone Wars. So Revenge of the Sith.
It's so close. I mean, it has to be Anakin.
Okay.
It has to be Anakin, and the reason how I did it, and I've said it before, is it's a bit like gaining enlightenment, going up through the levels, and a bit like a yogi in India might stand on his head for 10 years to gain enlightenment. But if he dropped some acid, he might see the same thing.
Yeah.
But that's not good, and it's not going to work. But it makes him potentially far more dangerous. And that's how I played Anakin Vader at that point, that he's like a junkie. and he's had all the training, and then he's taken a drug, and so potentially he's far more dangerous.
Wow.
Than Obi at that point.
I love that explanation. I love it.
Yeah.
So he cheated his way in, and this is what's key with the fights. I think with fights, and particularly these fights, they have to be character driven. Even if there's not much character in the script, you've got to dig it out, and find it and talk to the actor, see what they feel about their part and their character, and so in that fight, that's where I put him. I put him. He'd just done some heroin, and he went at it.
That's an awesome way to spin it, and I completely see what you're saying, because technically he should have been better than Obi, but because he was a little whacked out on some H, like you're saying, he couldn't focus his full potential, right?
Oh, his full potential is bubbling out of him.
Yeah,
and that's dangerous shit. And, because in those kind of fights, it's not it's like a pro boxer. They don't get excited in there. They just knock them down and wait for the moment. And
right.
That's what Obi did all the way through there. We also had a very different end to that end.
Oh, please tell us, because I was going to ask you about the high ground. Did you have input on that? I mean, is that I love George Lucas. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely adore the man, but that's wrong. He got that wrong. We campaigned, all 6 of us, all the actors, all the doubles. We kept showing him this end, and he was like, no, he was adamant. I don't know why, but he was adamant. We had one where there was no jump. They hadn't come across that lava. They'd gone round the edge. That changed very quickly. That's another thing, is things change when you're shooting. Right.
Overnight, you might have to dump a scene overnight and come up with something new, which is that day that happened. So we had them on that bank anyway, and we had Anakin had got him by the throat. He was holding him by the throat.
Oh, yes.
He knocked his sword away, so Obi's sword was on the floor. And he says, I'm sorry, my master, it has to be this way. And Obi sucked, as Anakin goes like that to chop his head off, Obi sucked his lightsaber, but like that, so he caught it, pulled and swung in one move, but the catch and the drag went through Anakin's arms.
Ah, okay.
And through his legs.
Oh.
And we dropped the torso off the body.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So So Obi was almost as surprised. The move, I can't show you it. Actually, I can. I'll stand by.
Oh man, there you go.
Well, he sucks it, so he cuts through his arms there, right, and then bang through his legs there.
That's amazing.
Well, we love George Lucas too, but I think I like your scene a lot better.
Yeah. What happened that day? Suddenly they were on a droid going across a volcano of lava. We didn't know why. That fight that they did going across the thing happened 3 minutes before they did it.
Oh,
wow.
Geez.
Man, do you think, now hearing this, because I don't think I'd ever heard that before. Do you think that George was just like, it needs to be more focused on like the hubris, Anakin's hubris, instead of just like a pure skill to skill battle or something like that?
No, I don't. I who knows? I think somebody said, hey, this would be cool, and George liked it, and that's how it happened.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Someone drew a picture like, look, we can make these little robots float in the lava, and he's like, okay.
I'm not saying it was ILM, but it might have been.
Yeah. Now, when that happens, Nick, do you guys show up and are you all just like defeated? You got to do what George wants, but are you all like, oh?
No, that happens every day in the film business.
Okay.
You get used to it. You can. I told you the fight with Grievous's bodyguards, which is a beautiful thing. We did for 3 weeks. We rehearsed it for 3 weeks. and an impossible fight, and it got cancelled on the day.
Yeah, and now all you get is a pinch, a fall, and then the fight's over.
I mean, I remember going in that day, and we were all excited because the crew obviously love to see it as well. It lifts the crew when you do it. And he went, I'm so sorry. There's no time. Like, oh no, George.
He is the maker after all, I guess. But,
that's it. Listen, none of us, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, I hate it when you hear the people slagging or have their own opinion on his universe. It's his universe.
Right. Yeah. He still cooked it all up in his own head. So while we might not agree with some of it, it's amazing what that man has thought up and created. Like think about all the jobs he's created over the years. I mean, even these days, he doesn't own it, but he's still providing work for people. Yeah, not just that. The way he improved everything. Industrial Light and Magic and THX Sound and. Mm-hmm. He was all about improving it all. Yeah. So like Ewan, sorry, Nick, like Ewan,
the Star Wars prequels really just made the next 15 years of like special effects filmmaking. Like prior to 99, like special effects, visual effects, they almost didn't exist in that way. So it is incredible to see how long lasting his effect has been. Yeah, and you think who worked? John Knoll, who works at ILM, invented Adobe Photoshop. You want that guy on your team. Yeah, of course. Ewan has recently came out and said, like, hey, doing the prequels, it wasn't the easiest for us actors because of all the blue and green screen. So he's real jazzed to be working in I don't know if you've followed up on some of the new Disney Star Wars stuff with the volume, shooting with those huge LED panels. Is that something, as a stunt coordinator, someone that kind of cooks up fight scenes, is that something you'd also like to take a spin at, to work with that type of technology? Well, I do. I have continued to work, believe it or not. I was actually working with that the other day. An AR wall, you mean? Okay. Got you. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we would do it. They do it a lot now with cars. Rather than have your actors doing drive-bys, they just do a week of AR wall, and you just wheel different cars in and out. You can now dial in backgrounds on your computer. Yeah. You can buy a background and. Well, I'm glad that it sounds like other studios are using the tech, because it sounded like Disney was trying to proprietize it by calling it the volume and this, that, and the other thing, and trying to lock Disney up the tech. They made it seem like they were the only ones that were doing this kind of work. Yeah, it's not there. I'm just doing a CBS thing, and they've got it. Okay. Yeah, you've been doing a lot of TV these days, right? Do you know? I love it. I went straight back to it after Star Wars. It's a strange thing. You start in television and you work your way up to movies, or that's the way you would think it happens. It's not much fun there anymore in movies, and it was starting back then. The scripts aren't great. It's a different world, movies. The good scripts are in television. And so I went back there, and I could not be happier. The interesting thing is that since I went back there, television has sort of been where everybody's going now, because that looks like the future. Yeah, well, it seems that they're investing in TV series now like they used to for big budget productions. I mean, I think Mandalorian, each season they're dumping $100 million into 8 episodes or whatever. I mean, that's a ridiculous budget for TV, and I'm sure the stuff you're on too, because I know you did some Black Mirror on Netflix, which is not a huge thing, but I can't tell you the CBS thing I've just been doing because they're very secret. That was $22 million an episode. Wow. 10 episodes. That's a $220 million movie you're talking about. And $2 million of that was your salary, right? You'd be surprised what, I am fabulously wealthy, obviously, but you'd be surprised what I actually get paid. I know you guys, like the stunt guys, at least my bud, he's coordinated a few times, done a little second unit, but the money seems to be like, at least the recurring stuff, the residuals is always a nice benefit. You all
you all get, and then if you light yourself on fire, that's some extra money. Or would you get extra for doing sword fights? Did that count as like an extra bump in stunt pay? No. Yeah, I didn't know.
It's when it's above and beyond. Hit the ground. That should be free. That's your daily fee. But you crash a car, you go on fire. Yeah, you jump off a building. It's called a bump.
Well, yeah, you're getting bumped pretty hard with those.
Yeah.
I got one more fanboy, and then I'm going to get into some of the nuts and bolts of what you were working on. But did you appreciate getting picked to play an actual Jedi, Sin Drelig? You're in Revenge of the Sith. You're in the video game. I think your character was even in Clone Wars. Was that something you lobbied for? Or were they just like, hey, Nick, we need you to throw in a Jedi costume today?
No, I don't want to get in a costume. Of course I don't. They offered me Darth Maul in the beginning.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of makeup, so you're like, screw that. I'm not putting that makeup on. Yeah.
And at the time it looked like a bit part. I didn't want to do it.
Got it.
I couldn't. You can't do it. You're too busy as a stunt coordinator.
Yeah.
Sin Drelig. No, I don't know what it was. He wanted me to play a part, and he asked me if I would play that part, and I said I didn't have time. But he insisted. It's not. I don't mean it. I don't mean it in a grand way, but you're so busy when you're stunt coordinating. 90% of what I do, you never see it.
Right.
Risk assessments take you days. So I said I didn't have time, but he really wanted me to do it. So I said, if I can pick my own name, I'll do it, and he let me do that. So that's why I did it.
Nice.
But that was Qui-Gon's wig I was wearing.
Oh, really? See, there you go. There's a nice little Easter egg. Yeah, I have a graphic up on the live stream for people to see. But he did make it into the animated universe. But those of you that watch Revenge of the Sith, you can see Sin kind of getting taken out by Vader in one of the Holo recordings.
How'd you come up with the name?
It's my name backwards.
Yep, I was going to say there's a secret to that, Nick.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
The reason it was a hologram was because we made it too violent.
Oh wow.
So you're the reason for the PG-13. It was your scene. You were in there chopping, or Vader was like chopping people in half.
He stabbed that girl right through the throat.
Oh man. Oh man, that would have been legit. Yeah, I know they at the time they made a big deal, like, oh, this is going to be the first PG-13 Star Wars movie. But these days you look at it and it's still kind of PG, I would say, in terms of the violence portrayed. So, maybe these days if you repitch the remake, you could get some of those the edited ending in there and a couple throat stabs. Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah. They've made Star Wars violent. I'm speaking, this is my own opinion, but The Mandalorian, I believe, has amped up the violence a little bit in the action. But it's still, it's still kind of kid friendly. All right, Sin Drelig, good stuff. So, Nick, do you have in your head right now, kind of putting you on the spot, a favorite action scene from the prequels that you kind of coordinated? Like what's the one that to this day you're like, you know what, that was some good freaking work right there?
Oh yeah, the one you never saw. I liked. There's a couple I liked. I liked Obi on that water planet when he fought Boba Fett, Jango Fett, as it was then.
Yeah, got you.
It didn't come out as good as it could have, but I enjoyed that fight because it was sort of different. It wasn't lightsabers, and I really liked against Grievous bodyguards on the bridge when they go in on the bridge. And I can't remember the scene, but there's Obi and Anakin, and they fight 3 bodyguards on the bridge of a ship, which were 3 of my guys. And I know one of the droids loses his arms at one point.
Oh yeah, that was the in the beginning of episode 3 on Grievous's.
When they're rescuing Palpatine, I think.
Yep.
It doesn't look much on there, but I've got, like, when we rehearsed it, I've got my footage of it. of my guys doing it on that ship. It was one of the few sets we ever got on to rehearse, so we made the most of it. But it's my guys all in their own clothes because I think we were playing football and we suddenly got the opportunity, so we ran in there to do it. And to see those guys, how far they'd come at that point with that style of fighting, because we invented that fighting, sort of as we went. And it's a beautiful thing. There's one of them fighting with one arm, and he's still superb,
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. Not the things probably that you would like.
Did you give that form of fighting a name? Like, did you create a style for that type of fighting, or just
but let's have a competition.
All right, yeah, there you go. He's laid down the gauntlet. Let's name a new form of fighting.
Yeah, not like Krav Maga, something like that, though.
Yeah. So in the prequels, if you look at the other two kind of trilogies aside, like in terms of fighting, prequels have like a lot of spins in terms of like movement of not only the person but the lightsaber spins and stuff like that. Is that just like something that you would call like a personal style of yours, or is that something that you felt fit uniquely with like Jedi at that time or something?
You know what it is? It's about continuous movement, and I know it gets a lot of flack for twirling or dancing or whatever they call it. Funny, isn't it? They never seem to be worried about a dog flying at the speed of light. It's about the speed of. It's about continual movement. So with a lightsaber, you don't need to put any force into it because it will just cut through. So if I'm attacking you, I'm moving there. Why would I suddenly stop and come backwards? I want to move the sword round, turn through it, keep the whole thing going the whole time. That way, there's no stopping and starting, which I hate, because you lose all the momentum and the acceleration. And it's the same with the body. I actually teach their feet long before we do arms. It's all about where you put your feet. I use the analogy of you watch a pro tennis player. You don't see them running across the court and whacking a ball as they, on the run. They get there, stand, and hit it. And it's the same thing. It's the same in any sport like that. The movement should be continuous. So it's not about unnecessary twirling. It can look that way. I've occasionally look online and, see people slagging off something or other. And they've entirely missed the point. I saw one the other day where they were talking about a feign that we did in the Qui-Gon Obi-Wan Maul fight. There's one where I think it's Obi feigns him like that.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Someone was saying it was a pointless move. It's a fucking feign, right? A feign is one of the best moves in sword fighting. Mm-hmm. There were two great kendo guys one time fighting, two masters, and as they were stood like that, one of them just feigned the other one, and the second guy put his sword down and walked away, because he moved. That's those little things. They're all important. There isn't an unnecessary twirl in there. That bit where they go toe to toe with their sabers, that gets really flagged off. That whole scene is, in fact, that entire fight in miniature. Right? It's about that one taught the other. They're almost equal. They can't get through. And they're reading each other's move before it even happens. It has to be there. It's a bit a chess master. It has to be that move, or you've made a mistake. And so that's what that's about, and that's why that's important. Yeah, it might look stupid, but it's important.
Well, I'm glad to hear you.
I needed that clarity, because I'm probably one of those jerk offs that have said something about that twirling moment there, but now it makes complete sense, because you're saying if one did not twirl, the other one would automatically have the opening to just slash them in half.
They know where it's coming. That was the beauty of it, and at the end of it, I had that where they actually plunged their lightsabers into each other, and the lightsabers went right the way in, and then bang! There was some kind of force explosion. But yeah, I loved that. I get it. I get if I didn't know nothing about it and I watched it, it might trouble me, but it's important.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that, because I'm one of the people who really enjoyed that fight And like, even because I was a kid when I saw it, I was 16 years old. So aside from like just the visual feast that fight was at the end, I think you did an incredible job of showing exactly what you just vocalized, that these two are essentially chess masters and they're playing this game, and that like they mirror each other so closely that any misstep could just be the end of it. So I appreciated that through and through. And there would be days, I mean, this is just me being a fan, there would be days where I would just put in the episode 3 DVD, skip right to that chapter, and just watch that fight 4 or 5 times over, because it was that powerful to me.
There's nothing you can do. You're always going to get your knockers, and there's nothing you can do about it. As long as more people get it than don't get it, that's all you can do.
I get it now, so I thank you, and I will stop ever saying anything nasty about that particular moment. I've been educated. I'm no longer an idiot, so thank you, because I am a big idiot. And trust me, I have plenty of people that watch this show that tell me I'm a big idiot and need to shut up, so it's all good. We've been talking about Hayden and Ewan. Which actor, well, I guess any of the ones you worked with, in particular with the sword fights, which one do you feel was the most natural at picking up your tutelage?
It would have to be one of the boys. Both of them, but both of them in completely different directions, strangely. Like Ewan, look, I'm wearing a Ewan hat at the moment. Can you see?
Oh yeah, his show, his motorcycle show.
I've known Ewan a long time. I knew Ewan actually when he was an extra. When I first met him, he was an extra on a movie. Lovely guy, even back then. And he's just, even though he's not trained at anything at all, really, Ewan, he's just one of those people that can do everything, whatever it is. He just get on any motorbike and ride it, and pick up a tennis racket and smack it. He's just natural, and he's got phenomenal balance. When most people will fall, I've seen him at angles, that are impossible to recover from, and he still gets back from it. He's fearless. So for that side of it, he's like a street fighter, and Hayden is an utter athlete.
Okay.
Hayden will destroy you at any sport at all, and he'll take it so seriously. He can't lose. It was beyond him to lose if he's playing you at any sport, whatever. Even if that sport is water bomb fighting,
he's going to win.
Him seriously, but he is a fearless athlete, Hayden. And so them two together, what a thing to see. You see it when we shoot it. You do 3 takes. You never do any more than that.
That's pretty good.
See that, like I see that fight every day for 6 weeks in my rehearsal room, and so obviously I've seen it better than it's been filmed many times. And the thing is, you hear it. Sometimes I'm on my computer and they would be rehearsing. And you can hear when that fight was right.
Tap, tap,
when
tap, tap.
Really right. You get this rhythm thing happening, and you can't deny it. You're like, oh my god, that's on it now. You're in the
Saber song.
Saber song. Yeah.
But we actually, on the stream, from your site, we have an image of you, I'm guessing in your choreography room, and it looks like you have a bunch of tape placement down. Is that for them to follow lines for the fight?
That's the sets, right? Because you don't get the sets.
So that's like you're just blocking stuff out for them, essentially, with tape.
We move at such a pace. You take like the whole studios, and then there might be 7 sound stages, and you start in one and you film through it for like 2 or 3 days, and they bulldoze that out behind you and build another one, and you go round the studio like that. So you only get the set the day before you get on it. So we get the drawings from the art department, and we mark all the sets out, on the floor so that they can go through the door at the right time, or down a corridor, or sometimes you have to add a little bit because you're short on the day. We have little 3-move sections that it might get us to a door.
Oh, so there's some ad libs in some of the fights we're seeing, is what you're saying?
Yeah, there'll always be a little extra piece especially if they come from one room to another. Something would have been added.
So I'm guessing the Mace Windu Palpatine fight had a lot of those then, because they move through what? I think it's almost 3 or 4 rooms, or no?
They go actually not. They go through. They go down a corridor and into one big room.
Oh yeah.
The worst one, obviously, was the end fight. They went 1/4 of a mile, I think.
Yeah, how long did the final duel take you to coordinate? Just from start to finish? Like, all right, I got it in my head, guys. Let's go rehearse it.
It took. We didn't have that much time. We didn't have as much time as Attack because Ewan was doing some Tim Burton movie.
Oh, is that Real
Big Fish
or something?
Big Fish,
Yeah.
I think.
Big Fish.
Yeah, it was that, wasn't it? And he never got to us. He got to us with 3 weeks to go. So that's how long it took, 3 weeks.
Wow.
And it shows. I mean, it is an impressive piece of stunt choreography. Is it still? Do you call that fight choreography or sword choreography? Is there a difference?
Sword fight. There was a good beginning on that didn't happen. We had, when Padme comes out.
Yeah.
And he's proper angry. Oh no, Obi comes out. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And he thinks they've been having a thing. And we had him do her by the throat. I think we had it remote. Yeah, so he just did the thing. She goes like that. Obi's shouting, and he lifts her up. He throws her against the spaceship. So we jerked her, smacked her into the spaceship, and dropped her on her face. And then he attacked her.
Man, I wish George let you guys kind of get some of your
Where's
visions out there.
No, I think what you need is the voice of reason, and George was that.
I don't know.
If we'd have left to our own devices, that would have been dripping blood.
I'm
R-rated
hearing
Star
this-
Wars, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
we need a Gallard cut of these
there
Star
you
Wars
go.
movies.
Right. Yeah, let's call up McCallum. Let's get it going here. The Gallard cut, rated R. I love it.
Drelling.
Yeah, the Drally cut. Yes.
Oh man. So, I mean, obviously you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but were there any actors that were kind of a challenge to work with?
Do you know what? Let me think. No. Do you
No.
know what? I would tell you as well.
Yeah, I know you would.
I mean, a challenge in learning sword fighting, Ian McDermott, and he'd be the first to admit it.
Yeah.
He just couldn't. He's the only person I've never been able to teach.
How much did you do with Christopher Lee before the double would come in?
What a fantastic guy. He did a great deal of it, but he was getting on a bit then.
Oh yeah.
He also here's a funny story actually. That on Attack, I think it was, he came to rehearsal, and I knew him from another movie, and he slid a letter across my desk from his doctor that said this man has a blood condition. He's taken Wolverine, which thins your blood, rat poison, and he shouldn't lift his elbows higher than his shoulders. So I'm reading that. That ruins that whole fight.
Oh no!
I remember taking that letter to Rick McCallum, and I slid it across his desk. He didn't touch it, right? He read it like that, upside down, and he went, "Well, he gave it to you, honey."
Yeah, you deal with it. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so he did a great deal of it, and then we did have a fantastic double called Kyle Rowling, who always works with me, and who did an amazing job.
Yeah, I think that probably would have been one of the first times in all of filmmaking that they tried that digital face transplant sort of thing going on there.
Yeah.
It's so normal now.
Yeah. I mean, they build entire humans out of CG now.
I just love that Christopher Lee came to the set with a doctor's excuse. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to perform in gym class today. My doctor said so. It's fantastic.
He still did, though. He still did it.
Yeah, because there's some close-ups. I believe I remember him getting his elbows up a little bit.
Yeah,
his elbows did go over his shoulders.
So you guys almost killed Christopher Lee by getting him to do some.
How he would have liked it.
Fantastic. I heard you mentioned Yoda. Obviously he was CG for the fight scenes. So did you have input in the Yoda fight scenes at all, or did you work with the ILM people, or did they have fun with that?
He wasn't supposed to be in there again until the day that we shot it.
I love the planning here. I love it. You guys walk in like, surprise, this is what we're doing today.
Yeah.
We just used to turn up and make it up as we went along. No, it was just a fight originally, I think, with Hayden and Dooku. I don't think anyone else was in it. And that was a good fight. I think Obi might have come in at some point. I can't remember. But it very rapidly changed because on the day of shooting it, George said he wanted Yoda in there. It was funny. I got on all right with George, but I was dumbfounded, obviously. We were standing on the set at the time, ready to go. And he said it, and I said, let me just make sure I understand this. Right? This is going to happen, and then that blast door is going to open, and there is a 3-foot frog.
Yeah.
And so we did that on the day. ILM, all we did was ILM told us where Yoda would be jumping to.
Okay.
And we did a fight, the Dooku part of it, and they very, very cleverly matched those moves.
So when that happens, Nick, when it's literally just seat of your pants type of stuff, I mean, does he give you an hour, 2 hours to kind of spitball that, or
we're talking? No, I mean you're playing in the Premier League when you're at that level, and
so you just roll with it.
You don't get a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, suddenly can't throw a ball. You've got to get on it quick and make it happen. And the thing is, often it's a strange thing at the highest level. You often end up winging it, and winging it isn't a great thing to do. But if you're good at your job, you get good at winging it. That's part of growing up through the business, and so that's where you often end up. And so you better be ready for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're working with other creatives, so I mean, I guess you gotta have that skill as well. I mean, yours is more in the physical aspect of filmmaking, but you're still cooking up something that you think in your imagination would look pretty radical on screen in camera.
It's a funny thing. It's again, I can't tell you about this job I'm doing, but this reshoot.
We won't tell.
We're doing it in a couple of weeks, and it's a proper reshoot. I've looked at it, and it's shocking, the thing that they've got. And I just emailed them and said, look, I'm going to completely replace it, just so you know. And that will involve a week's rehearsal of 20 people rehearsing.
Cash money.
Well, it's not, you don't start out doing it for the money. The money's great.
No, I'm saying that they're going to have to pony up cash money for the reshoots.
Yeah, they are going to have to pony up. But we'll get there, and even Marvel, won't know what's going on until they grasp it, So it's often that way.
I can't wait to find out what this is.
No, it's only a reshoot. I'm not involved in the whole thing.
I'm going to ask around. Like I said, I got an MCU guy in there.
I won't have the credit put on IMDb.
Oh man!
Oh really? You don't? They won't give you a credit for reshoot?
No, you can not have a credit.
Got you.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
As long as you have the credit in your bank account, that's all you care about.
Yeah, there you go. or the feeling of getting a good job out there.
Getting a good piece of
job.
Yeah.
So is this going to be your first foray into the Marvel universe, or have you dabbled in that before?
No, I haven't. As you know, I've been doing telly, and that I'm happy doing television. But this is the producer is a friend of mine, and he's in trouble, and so that's why I'm going there.
Well,
I'm not saying I'm never going to go back, but I'm very happy where I am at the moment.
Well, you're probably at a point in your career where you can be picky and choosy of what you want to do, right? I mean, you want to do what you want to do.
I do want to do what I want to do, yeah. I want to be in control of it. And on big movies, you have to give a lot away. And, I like to be sort of at the rock face, and that's where I am now.
So Nick, at this point, do you like getting second unit type of jobs more than the stunt work, or do you still second unit and stunt coordinate at the same time? Because I know sometimes the second unit is sort of a stunt person, or that seems how it's been.
Yeah, you do it anyway. I did most of it on Phantom Menace. I shot most of that end fight I shot. I'm not bothered. I like being a stunt coordinator. I'm not bothered about directing. It's a huge drop in salary, and I'd have to be there every day.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems like a lot of stunt coordinators, that's kind of the trajectory they go on. Stunt coordinate, second unit, then to direct. But like you said, it's a whole different game being a director versus just running a department and being one piece of the puzzle.
Well, it's more than that. It's, even if you're a director now on a big movie, there are 38 people more important than you are,
right,
that can tell you how to direct it. And one of the good things with being a sort of established stunt coordinator is that doesn't happen. People don't tell you how to do your job. They let you do it. And so to lose that I would struggle with.
All right, well, we're coming up on our hour. I don't want to keep Mr. Gillard too late. He is over in the UK. He might want to relax a little bit before he goes to bed. But I got two more questions. We'll see where they go. So in terms of the prequel, Nick, is there one of the films that you are most proud of overall? Is it Phantom Menace your favorite, or do you feel like from
Phantom.
Yeah. What was it like working with Ray? I mean, obviously he had the skills. Did you have to kind of get him caught up on how to do that stuff for making a movie?
Ray was a very different person back then. He was a young lad that had been working. He'd been working with a friend of mine on Mortal Kombat as a gymnast, and it was my friend that I'd recommend. I was looking mostly for a gymnast. And so Ray came along. He was perfect, absolutely perfect. He could do wushu. He was great with. He did this little routine with the paper sword that was perfect. He looked the part. But then he was an incredibly shy young man. Not much travelled. I used to smoke cigarettes back then, and I'd make him go and get me a cigarette because he would bring it in a piece of tissue paper because he didn't want to touch it.
That's awesome.
And, he talked like that. He was very quiet. And, he did a fantastic job, but he was on our team. He was part of the stunt team. And, I tried to warn him. I said to him, get ready because you're going to be on cornflakes packets. And I don't think he really grasped it. And so when it came, it came big for him. And I don't know, I think he's doing all right. He lives in America now. I think he's done well for himself. But he's changed a lot. He was this lovely, quiet, clean living young man. And I hope he's still that.
Yeah, fair enough. I think he became a little more extroverted after all that went down because these days he MCs some of the Star Wars Celebration panels. He's out there jumping around doing his routine, and you know, we know or don't know what happened last year on social media. So yeah, I get what you're saying. But he did get to come back to Star Wars a bit, you know.
People like to point that out. They're like, man, he looks a little heavier when he did the stunts in the Clone Wars recently.
not as svelte, but hey,
svelte to look.
There you go. He stays in shape.
Very in shape. Yeah.
All right. Last one here, and this is like kind of, you know, future looking here, but have you seen or paid attention to any of the new Disney Star Wars stuff?
Well, you know, I don't have social media and any of it. So I don't spend a lot of time on the internet, and I have seen bits and pieces. I saw The Force Awakens. I saw it on an airplane, so I didn't see it too well. And I've seen Ryan Johnson?
The Last Jedi.
Yeah. Who am I to say? You know, as we've said all the way through this, you're winging it a lot of the time. You know, things change on the day. I would say with what they had available to them at the time, they did all right. It's a different world to the one I was in. I had ultimate, you know, I could do whatever the hell I wanted.
Right.
And they might not have been able to do that. And I've seen enough people slag off my own fights to not slag off their fights.
Did you feel like they paid any sort of homage to your work?
Yeah, I think they've gone down that path. I think they missed it by a country mile, because they didn't character base it. You know, They just went. I know the guys that do it. Do you know what I mean? I know the guys that are doing it now with Ewan, and it's moves. You know, it's just flash moves, and you need, for those kind of actors, they're too big, and you need to get character driven.
Fair enough.
If it's some nothing part, you know, that doesn't matter, then it can be a flashy move. But if it's Samuel L. motherfucking Jackson, it better be right.
Yeah. Do you think that's because there's just like too much control from the top down now?
Possibly that. I don't know, because I'm not in that situation. I'm about to head into it, and it does look that way. Mm-hmm. I think it's more just maturity. I don't want to slag it off, because I don't know what problems they had, but I think it's maturity and confidence and belief. You know, that you know what you're doing better than that exec does. Yeah. They're better than that exec is telling you, and so you better argue him or her down. You know, and you better be able to do that.
You really hit on to something that J.J. Abrams himself kind of came out and admitted, I don't know, a month or two ago in an interview. He's like, listen, sometimes you need to have a plan from start to finish, and we probably should have had a plan for the sequel trilogy, and not share writers and directors and all this other stuff. Yeah. So I think you're spot on there. Yeah. Sticking with the new stuff, I mean, are you familiar with the character of like Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars era, or do you know any of the new characters like Rey or Kylo or? No. Okay. Well, we had a fan question I was going to ask just to let the fans get. Well, they wanted to know if you could create a fight for any of the characters introduced after your time in Star Wars. So like Rey, Kylo, Ahsoka.
I would love. Do you know what? I mean, I did see that, and I would love to have done Kylo. Somebody needed to get hold of the actor, right? The actor got away with it, and somebody needed to get hold of him and explain to him why it needed to be this way or that way, because he was dragging that thing around like
like a sledgehammer, right? It was like
that was one of the huge criticisms.
It's not his fault. I think he's probably you know, I think he's quite a character, that guy. I don't know him, but I would imagine he would argue his corner. But you know, somebody needs to get hold of him and explain to him why and what a lightsaber is and why you.
Yeah, I think most fans would agree with you there. That was one of the huge criticisms. Is it was in comparison to what you did, where everything was light and fluid. The new ones did seem a little heavier, a little slower. You lost the pace.
It's like they're swinging battle axes at each other.
Yeah, no, it almost seemed like medieval fighting in a way.
Not heavy.
Yeah, it's literally a blade of light. It's in the name. I would love to see what you could do with characters like that.
The weapon is a character as well, you know.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Gillard, I could sit here and just listen to stories from you the rest of the day, but I hear those seagulls, so I'm assuming you're close to a beach. You probably want to go out there, maybe have a beer, get ready for bedtime. So
there's one out there, and it's got a chick on my roof. It's only a chick, and the bloody thing. It's been there about a week. It's going to be there for about another 2 weeks before it fledges. But the mother is on my roof, and she will not let me go out there. Every time.
You got like a seagull shit flying at you every time you walk out of your door. Yeah.
Shut on the last 2 days.
Oh no. Well, maybe we'll let you go deal with that. But I sincerely appreciate your time. This was fantastic. It was great chatting with you. I think we learned a lot. I think we heard some stories that people haven't heard before. So we appreciate those recaps you gave us. I'll definitely be looking forward to the MCU, trying to figure out if we can figure out what Nick fixed. Yeah, I might have to ask around there, but hey, appreciate your time. This was awesome. You are a Star Wars legend. You're a legend in the stunt game. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for making it easy. You know, I don't do many of these. But,
we know. We are very appreciative that you decided to help us out here.
If they were all like this, I would do more.
Well, thank you very much. All right, that's Nick Gillard for you, stunt coordinator extraordinaire. See you later.
Take care. Bye, boys.
Bye-bye.
Booyah.
Man, that was fantastic, wasn't it?
That's how you do it, people. Hold on, what are we looking at here? Let's get our screen fixed here. Man, that was just fucking great, right? I always like to kind of celebrate an interview like that once we're done, but that was better than I could even imagine. I feel like Nick, he genuinely enjoyed talking with us, and that's fucking kick ass. So there you go, all you main dude haters. See, people like me. No, he really did. I mean, again, kudos to Spa Spooey out there, Spencer. He's the one that kind of whittled Mr. Gillard down and got him on the show. So definitely want to give a shout. I'm dying here, Spencer.
Give a shout out to Spencer.
Yeah, give a shout out to Spencer. But man, that was just fun. I mean, he before we went live, he's like, "Listen, guys, I don't do this. I haven't done this in a long time." But I checked you guys out and it looked like fun, and you just heard him at the end. He's like, hey, this was enjoyable. I would do more if it were like you two. So, hey, there's no better stamp of approval than that, my friend.
I know, man. I mean, it just makes you, as a content creator, like it makes you feel validated in a way, you know?
Yes, it does.
When somebody of that caliber, I mean, you saw his resume, you listen to his stories, and you see what he's done. I mean, when somebody like that tells you that you did a good job and it was fun for him, man, and nothing feels better. So
again, I mean, I'm probably not going to stop bitching and moaning, but it's like, hey, if Nick Gillard thinks we're cool to talk to, where the fuck are the rest of these Star Wars fans out there? I mean, we've got our diehards in the live stream. I'm never speaking to you in the live stream, people. You fandos, you know that. This is just me kind of thinking out loud, like, all right, hey, if we can get people like that to appreciate what we do, what are we doing wrong, big picture wise? But anyways, we're not going to dwell on that bullshit. That was kick ass. That was another notch on the belt. And Nick, I think we got some content out of that interview. I mean, I might be putting you to work tomorrow as I'm slicing the show together, but I think you have to pull at least a part on the alternate ending to Revenge of the Sith. That was huge. I've never heard that before.
Me neither. I like, you know, as much as we've watched the behind the scenes and as into this scene as we are, never once have I heard that it was supposed to end that way.
Yeah, that what else he say?
The Padme, like flinging Padme.
Yeah, the Padme thing, and then the Yoda was literally day of. George was like, hey, we're going to do this now. It's like, okay, we'll do whatever you want, pal. Make sure to remind us, those of you in our Discord, and if you want to join the Discord, we encourage you to hit us on Instagram at Star Wars Time Show. Use the bio link. You can get into our Discord through there. But no bullshit. Tones, he's usually the most active. Put a reminder in there at that Nick C. Me too. We need to clip that content. And I do believe we were getting all these emails from YouTube like, hey, you're eligible to have your content clipped now. If that's the case and you all can clip parts of our show, I believe it allows you to do.
You guys should be able to clip if that's now a feature.
Yeah, so we would love for you all to share clips of our show these days. You should be able to do it right from YouTube. Shouldn't take much effort. It seems like they made it easy, but this is where we can rely on the Fando Army, those of you in the stream here, to kind of help us get some of these clips out into your own social feeds. Because let's be real. Our social reach, for the most part, is capped. Okay, it's Instagram. But when other big accounts share our stuff, put it in their stories, hey, look at this article, look at this interview, that speaks volumes. I'm a human too. When I look at people's stories, if it's a friend and they're recommending something, a lot of the times I will take the effort to go check it out. So if you do have the ability to clip the show at this point and you are a regular, I would love for that type of support. But 100%. Nick, I'm tasking you right now. I know you usually take off from now until next Tuesday. I'm begging with you. We need to get those revelations out there, and then someone needs to get them on a Reddit or into the viral mainstream, because I think we got some nuggets. I really do. We're live now. I'm not going to go look and research if that's been out there before, but I think we got some good stuff from Mr. Gillard. It was all good, but in terms of just behind-the-scenes lore, that was a win. All right. Kick ass, my friend. Let me shut down some of the Gillard material I had there and never used because he was such a great interview. He was all worried. Here's the other thing, people. Like behind the scenes, he's like, guys, I don't think this is going to go more than a couple minutes. He's like, wait till you start talking to me. Like, it was almost like he was self-deprecating. And I'm like, oh, don't worry. I'm full of hot air. We'll figure this shit out. And we probably could have went another 20, 30 minutes. I was running out of questions, and I don't want to have a 5-hour show today. So we had to let him go, but beautiful stuff. But it's now time to do what we usually do on Star Wars Time Show Day, and that is get all of you caught up on all things important Star Wars that occurred between the last SWTS. And we're going to start with the Bad Batch, right? This thing's moving right along. We are now 12 episodes in, 4 to go. 4 to go. I know. Don't start crying yet, or don't start cheering yet, because I've seen out there, at least on Instagram, that there is a faction of Bad Batch haters, believe it or not. I don't quite understand, but these days I'm giving up trying to figure out humanity. It's useless. We are idiocracy.
Nobody's gonna
in the flesh.
Nobody's gonna like it.
Yeah,
it's one of the things where too, like, animated series will always get more hate just because there are people out there who think that anything that's not live action is just garbage.
It's bullshit.
And this is, it's new. They're new characters. They're new personalities. It's not, you don't have somebody to latch onto like you did with Clone Wars with Anakin and Obi and all of the familiar characters from the prequel trilogy. So you have to build a relationship with these characters, and that's why some of the episodes that people call filler exist, so you can build those bonds, build those relationships with these characters. So.
Hey, real quick, can someone? Sorry, Nick. Again, I don't want to get yelled at by your fans, so I'm really trying my best, and I know I stepped on you a few times, so I'm sorry. Can someone, when you figure it out, help Bat out either in our Discord or here with how to do YouTube clip sharing, please? Thank you.
A YouTube.
All right. Okay, Nick. So Bad Batch S1E12, aka Rescue on Ryloth. For some reason, I keep wanting to say over Ryloth. I'm not sure why. But you know how we do it. If you're new here, we typically, Nick and I will kind of put our own, not spin, but just our own feeling of the episode, kind of how it touched us, if you will, overall. And then we'll get into more of the analytical breakdown, looking at some of the eggs and references, as well as some of the moments that you probably should have been paying attention to. All right, dude, I'll be honest with you. And I think this is just my narcissism here, but I don't want to say I was put off by this episode. I was completely surprised with how it played out. And you won. You won the speculation wars for this episode. I will give Nick credit. Look, see, he's not like me, but I'll give him his praise. He's the one that told me. He's like, calm down, psycho. Hauser is not going to die yet. Shit's not getting that crazy yet. And he was 100% right. But that kind of shocked me. I did not see the detour happening with Hera and her parents and Hauser. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I just, I don't like to be wrong. I'll just admit it. I did not like to be wrong. So, Nick, you were 100% right. And I was sitting there going like, that motherfucker, he got it. He said, listen, dude, Hauser is going to survive. And sure as shit, he did. I would argue though, outside of that moment, the episode was kind of zippity doo-dah for me. I'll never say filler, but it was just like, all right, literally we added nothing to the world so far.
Yeah, it followed the beats. I mean, when you have an episode the way that the last one ended, and then the next one is literally called Rescue, where we just were, there's not a lot of places you can go. I guess the only thing that you could kind of talk about in terms of like world building or character building is that the batch themselves were still very hesitant to go back.
They don't know what the fuck.
This ain't our problem.
Like they're you're right. It's like they're stuck now in between being caretakers, mercenaries, and soldiers for the righteousness, right? Soldiers for the common person. And they're figuring it out, but who's the one making them figure it out? It's Omega, because she's the one that really lobbied hard. And I guess that's what we could really take from this episode, is the fact that Omega is sort of calling the shots now, like we expected based on her Dejarik battle with Hunter. I mean, he pretty much said, like, not that you can call the shots, but you will be an official part of the team and you'll always come on every mission. And clearly she is now dropping down some of the strategy and some of the moves they're going to make. But I think the thing to take from this is that by the Bad Batch ultimately helping the Syndulas out, it now is a very strong connection between Hera Syndulla and Omega, Hera and Bad Batch, which is just going to hopefully provide more fruit down the road, because at this point, season 2 has to be inevitable. I don't think I don't think you bring in a character like Hera and give her 2 episodes and then not show how she, loses her mother, this, that, and the other thing. But who knows? I mean, who knows? Because in Rebels, I forgot, Cham Syndulla did leave Ryloth like we saw him leave in this episode. And he does return to fight the Empire. I guess, are we going to see some of that in Batch now? But Nick's call and Hera and the family getting away definitely opens the door for future Syndulla crossover story action. And I guess that's the biggest takeaway.
Yeah. So like the big thing for me is that like season 2 of this has to be more focused on formation of the rebellion. It's inevitable that comes up in the show, because as of now, in terms of like actual canon stuff in this time period, like you don't have a lot of knowledge of the rebellion. I mean, we haven't heard it. Like even if you go like obviously the movies, it's not necessarily canon because it was a cutscene. I mean, all the way through Clone Wars, you couldn't talk about the rebellion because you were still actively in the Republic days. Now you have to get there. Like you have to bridge the gap between.
Well, you're right, because they're
Clone Wars and Rebels
at this point, Nick,
with this series.
They essentially refer to the rebellion as the Republic, right? Even Rex himself said, he's like, I'm still fighting for the Republic. Saw Gerrera, the Republic. So we are seeing the rebellion, but it truly is still the Republic at this point in time. The original freedom fighters. Because remember, the Republic and its armies were all formed because of this fake CIS threat. It's not like the galaxy was in a war before the Clone Wars. That was all designed by the Sith to do what Palpatine needed to be done with the Jedi, so on and so forth. So it is like Nick's right. At this point in time, it's not the rebellion yet, and hell, it really doesn't even become the Rebel Alliance until the end of Star Wars Rebels. What we should see is the Republic and people referring to themselves as the Republic. They're going to be the ones that start forming these rebel cells that eventually will come together to form the Rebel Alliance after the Battle of what was Ezra's Lothal? I mean, that's essentially
Lothal,
that battle. It was the signal to the rebel cells, like, hey, these motherfuckers under Syndulla and Bridger, they got their shit together. They just had a major victory against Thrawn. We can do this. It's time to show our full force.
Another big thing that I think came from this is we now see that the conditioning Order 66 is either weaker than initially thought, or it like starts to wear off.
Totally.
Because
and
that
we'll
moment
get
with
to this.
Hauser.
Yeah, let's save that because I really want to get analytical on that scene's ass. So
yeah,
I guess overall, how did you feel at the end of episode 12? I mean, was it?
I think it was expected, kind of like you said. It wasn't anything that was like, nothing came out of here that we didn't expect, which is kind of weird. I mean, usually you have something at the end, or you have something that kind of pops up in the episode that may be like, oh, okay, this is where we're going, or like this is a new little wrinkle. And it really didn't feel like that. It just felt like the episode was exactly and just what the title said, that this is the rescue on Ryloth. And from here, you're still in kind of a weird spot because, you know, they just kind of leave, and now what does the batch do? Like, this next thing is going to be almost, it feels like it's going to be wholly disconnected from everything we just saw.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, like I said, we'll get analytical on the chip stuff because Hauser is a case study at this point in time. 100% a case study. He's even a contrast to the Bad Batch and what was happening with Wrecker's chips. So yeah, I definitely want to get into that. But before that, let's go through the very minuscule amount of eggs and references in this episode. I mean, this was nothing. This was maybe this is why I was kind of like, man, you know, when I get up early, I'm expecting to get some crazy lore stuff. And this one was just kind of, as Nick predicted from start to finish, it was just a rescue. No one died. I mean, I thought for sure Hauser was at least going to get popped by crosshairs. No. I thought someone was going to die sacrificing themselves for Hera. No. But we didn't even get any really good Easter eggs or references either. So, you know, we some IPDs were in there. That Y-Wing carcass was in there again. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, really, this was my big one here, and this is as dumb as it gets. This is as stretchy as it gets for an egg. But in Rampart's office on his desk, it looks like he's got some Melloran fruit, which, you know, was kind of it formed the crux of a plot line in Star Wars Rebels, with Hera tasking Ezra and Zeb and I believe Chopper, because they were all fucking with each other on her ship, screwing it up, to go get a Melloran fruit to teach them how to work together. So that was about it on the reference and eggs front. So like I said, kind of weak. But as Nick kind of teased, some of the key moments are clearly going to impact the show down the road, if not the galaxy, especially with the clone stuff we learned. But the first key moment, and this kind of harkens back to what Nick and I were saying with Omega just becoming a full member of the batch and kind of doing shit the way she wants to. But we learn early on that of her own accord, Omega gave Hera the Bad Batch's comm channel. And I love when Hunter's like, yo, why would you do that? You know, blah, blah, blah. We can't just save everybody. And she gives him the line, isn't that what soldiers do?
What soldiers do. Yeah. No, that was perfect. And it shows that, like, that scene in particular shows me that, like, more than anything, Omega is like almost like the moral compass for the group. I mean, most of the time when you have kids in shows and they're surrounded by adults, they kind of are. But it's unique with her because you are essentially now the moral compass for a group of soldiers, mercenaries.
Your brothers. I mean, while they're not pure DNA, pure Django semen, they're still related to her. They still have her same brain matter and whatnot. And you're right. She really has kind of become she's like the den mother, for lack of a better word. She's like, listen, you shitheads, you all smell and you fart too much, but no. We are going to be a force for change. We are a force for good. I mean, she's made that mind up. She is there to fight for the downtrodden, which is this is I don't want to say a carbon copy, but this is a tried and true mold for a Star Wars hero, right?
Yeah.
They exist to help out those less in need, less fortunate, those that are in dire circumstances. And she really is defining herself, as Nick said, as the kind of the moral compass for the Bad Batch. And it's clear she's going to win them all over. I mean, so goes Hunter, will go the rest of the batch, and she pretty much already has them wrapped around her finger. She gets whatever she wants. So I appreciate seeing Omega each week becoming more and more a part of the actual Bad Batch Clone Force 99 and less of a kid that they need to babysit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, next key moment here, and this should make some of you canon freaks happy. But Rampart makes it pretty clear that Orn Free Taa did survive the assassination attempt. So while Nick and I were like, yo, dude got shot in the head, you could see his body there. I don't think Rampart was just bullshitting. I think maybe Orn Free Taa did survive off camera. We still haven't seen a body, so I guess technically he is alive. What was your take? Is this Rampart playing up to the crowd, or was he being legit?
I tend to believe that.
Yeah.
Because even for us, we're like, wow, did they really fucking kill that guy? Like, we were even hesitant to believe that he was actually dead. But I mean, maybe it was kind of like I said, maybe like he hit that fucking head tail, and that was what he was aiming for, and it just knocked his ass out, or like it was a serious enough wound to like put him out of commission, but not actually kill him.
Yeah, it could have been like a concussion shot. I think that's been in some video games. You can add like a concuss round where it's more like a beanbag. But if anyone would be able to shoot someone in the head and not kill them, it would clearly be Crosshair. So,
and then also by doing that, and by having like Orn Free Taa, if he is alive, Orn Free Taa is going to come about and he's going to say, these people tried to kill me.
Right.
Like they tried to kill me. I survived. We need to put all of our focus and support behind the Empire to protect us from these fucking, these evil rebels that are trying to overthrow our government. So, I think it was if he is alive, then that was a very fucking tactical move on their part to make it.
I'm glad you said tactical, because I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, you know what, Nick? And I'm assuming we're going to see what happens to him, but Admiral Rampart is shaping up to be a pretty decent Imperial strategist. I'm not going to put him on Thrawn's level, but so far he's been able to pull off some pretty impressive, like, multi-layer plans to get what he wants, and that is making the good guys look bad. Trying to cast freedom fighters and those that planet inhabitants would rally behind as shitheads, and he's really good at it. The reason he's probably not that great, because we don't see him down the road. They haven't like crammed him into A New Hope at this point, like they have for some characters they created in the animated universe. Like, what was it? Not Wilhelm, but there's one of them that makes it all the way from Clone Wars to A New Hope. One of the white-haired guys in the like Krennic outfits. Yeah, but he's a master manipulator. Yeah, and you're getting that really quickly. And as soon as when he was the voice of the Imperial chain code thing, like when he was on every system on that hologram, you were like, okay, this guy he's like the PR guy for the Empire. Yeah, he's Fox News. He is the Empire's Fox News, and he's like Tucker Carlson of the Empire. But
unlike Fox News, he's actually clever enough to pull off his manipulations in a believable way.
I don't know, man. Like they've convinced a lot of people that vaccines will kill you, and the elections in this country aren't real anymore. So they're pretty damn good at what they do. It's dangerous, but
I guess so.
No, you're right, because he's also the mastermind of War Mantle.
Yes, exactly.
So, like Nick said, this guy has kind of become Tarkin's number 2, right? Maybe we don't see him because Thrawn ultimately slides into that slot. But Rampart's no joke. And I was kind of expecting him to be a bit of a buffoon. They made, before Thrawn was there, I think her name is General Price from Star Wars Rebels, who was just kind of an idiot. Like, she was your typical overly ambitious Imperial commander who would make decisions brashly, not think, and usually get egg on her face. I mean, she was kind of a dope. You know, the Rebels, Phoenix Squadron always made her look stupid. So far, no one's made Rampart look stupid yet. Outside of maybe Hauser, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, but I'm impressed with Rampart. He's been playing a pretty good bad guy, like a mastermind, not like a but the long game type of motherfucker. You know, like Palpatine Jr. Yeah. All right, well, that's a little too much credit. No one is as good at the long game as Palpatine.
Not quite as.
Okay, another key moment, and this, you know, it's sentimental, lore, whatever, but we got to see Hera as in the leader's role for the first time, planning out a mission, telling people what to do, what they need to do. Something we were overly familiar with her character in Star Wars Rebels, because that's what she was. I mean, she was such a leader and tactician that once the other cells found her, she started taking over whole squadrons and then ultimately became a general in the Rebel Alliance. So I don't know. I just thought it was cool as a fan of Hera's to see her first ever lead as a rebel, right? I mean, she's a rebel at this point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was cool to see her get to fly for the first time.
Yeah, well, that was my next one. It's a bunch of firsts for Hera. We also got to see her for the first time pilot a ship from start to finish, and it was a little rocky, but she pulled it off.
Yeah. But it's cool to see her grow, and like you said, you can already see the qualities that are needed for her to become the Hera Syndulla that we know in Rebels. And I mean, yeah, she basically built that whole fucking plan. Like, hey, attack the refinery, pull them over, and then we come in the back way.
Yeah, and the only one that figured it out is because he's no fool, is Crosshair.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he eventually was like, oh, I know what my boys are up to. And, you know, he was there to kind of lead us into our final key moment, and one I'd like to spend a few minutes on, just kind of spitballing what the hell could be going on with our boy Captain Hauser. So, you know, last week, Nick and I were pontificating about this gentleman, this named clone, a new named clone. We always love a named clone around here. And we were wondering, like, what the fuck's up with this guy? Like, you know, is the shit on the other side of his face? Did that play a role in his chip maybe not being as strong as some other clones? And he just was different. He was even more different than Rex with a chip, right? Rex, you can argue, I mean, he did try to fight it, but literally he had to physically fight his arms from blowing Ahsoka's face off. This guy seems chill as fuck. He will still take orders, but he's not afraid to push back. And we saw in this episode, he finally drew a line in the sand and said, listen, brothers, we came here to free the people of Ryloth. And now we are essentially arresting them and rounding them up. What the fuck are we doing? Who is with me? That's a pretty clear and strong break from any sort of chip conditioning that the clones had. And what was even more eye-opening, it wasn't just Hauser with this sense of free will. You had arguably a third to a half of that little battalion or platoon also drop their arms and willingly get arrested. So if anything from this episode, it has been made very clear that clones, even after Order 66 was activated, certain clones can break through the conditioning and regain their free will. And I think that is going to have a huge impact on the rest of the show and the galaxy itself.
Yeah, I mean, this is essentially why Project War Mantle exists.
Thank you.
You know, and what I wonder is like right when Order 66 goes off, I would love if we had like a view of Hauser when it came through, because what could be happening is like, yeah, right when you get that initial hit, bang, it happens, your conditioning kicks in, but then as time goes on, and we kind of see this with Crosshair too, like as time goes on, he kind of comes off of it, but they keep juicing him. So they hit him with another fucking zap to the brain.
I think a lot of people forget. A lot of people forget that Crosshair is so over the top, you know, always wanting to shoot babies and kids first, because Tarkin specifically had the Kaminoans jack his chip to a ridiculous level. So like he has truly been turned into a monster. Like, I mean, I don't think there's, but Nick hinted out, I don't know if anyone else picked it up. You can even tell in this episode, as driven as he is to kill his friends, I don't know. When I look at him, Nick, I always feel like he's having an internal fight still. Like,
yeah, there's a little bit of humanity left in there.
So I'm with you.
Because that's the thing. It's like he could have blasted Hauser as soon as that door
100%.
opened. But instead, he says, arrest them.
Yep.
Like if this was Crosshair from the Rebel Cell camp with Saw Gerrera's people, all those motherfuckers would be dead. Yeah, but there's something in there that still is itching at his brain, that he knows that something's not right.
So I'm with you on the idea that the chip's effects over time probably degrade. It's just who knows? Maybe the chips themselves start to break apart. The little jolt of conditioning they got it degrades. It's like you're sitting out in the sun and you shrivel up. It just you give it some time, you air it out, you get some clarity back. But clearly not all clones reach that clarity right away. So I think where I want to go with this, Nick, is, and I believe this has been touched on and maybe in stuff that's EU content at this point in time, but I think it's inevitable now that there's going to be a clone uprising. And that is going to be the ultimate reason that the Empire has to make the flip to conscripted soldiers. It's not this bullshit Tarkin's been feeding us with, budgets and costs. Like, okay, whatever. You're the fucking Empire. You take whatever you want. Don't give me you're looking for ways to cut costs to create your war machine. I do think that a lot of the clones are going to start having a Hauser. And they will get other clones to follow suit. And yes, you will have clones, even with free will, that decide to stay with the Empire. But I think ultimately, because of the clones dropping out, breaking orders, breaking rank, that Tarkin, the Emperor, that this is going to be the death knell for them. And it's going to be, hey, we're sending a force to Kamino. Maybe this is the first War Mantle Battalion. Wipe them out. Every fucking clone out on Kamino. Blow up all the facilities. We can't have these fuckers in the galaxy at all.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right on that. And I mean, like, in terms of actual canon, I don't think that there's any stories told about a clone uprising right now. But it makes the most sense. Like, you're seeing the seeds. The seeds are planted, not only for the rebellion, but for a potential uprising. I mean, like you said, like 50% of these clones after Hauser's speech were like, yeah, no, I'm down with that. And they just fucking start to drop their shit and pull off. So if that happens, and that's, if that happens in the field, and you have essentially half of your army draw arms against you, then that really looks fucking tough for the galaxy. Yeah. And then but that also strengthens the resolve of the people who are fighting against it. Like if there's word that gets out that a clone uprising happened, that would only fuel the rebellion efforts even more.
That is the last thing the Empire wants to happen right now. Their main force, their main troops going haywire and turning against their Imperial commanders, the ramparts of the world. So I really think it's going to be Hauser and what he did. That is going to be the impetus for the end of the clone program, not money. And really, let's face it, people. There has to be an explanation as to why, besides, they just died of age, as to why the clones are essentially completely wiped out by the time we get to the original trilogy. I mean, just gone. The only ones that I believe were around at that point, and who knows, maybe we'll get some insights on the Bad Batch and if they make it out, but it was Rex, Gregor, and Wolf. That's it. 3 out of millions. So there had to be some sort of extinction event for our poor clone brothers, and I think this is now going to be it. This was the start. We'll probably get a little more sprinkled in over the final few episodes, but I would not be surprised if by the end of this season here that some dark shit goes down on Kamino between clones and Imperials.
No, yeah, I think that's a great, really good call for sure.
Yeah, Kingdom of Weird. We've been asking that too. Like if it's kind of like Suicide Squad and the chips could just be activated. So far, it doesn't look like it, but I wouldn't put it past the Empire. You
would figure that they would pop some of those.
Well, yeah,
already.
I mean, at this point, they just remote. Well, the first few episodes, you could have blown the Bad Batch's heads off, but at this point, you can't because their chips are gone. So, no, I mean, Hauser is huge. I mean, he's the dude at this point in time. I mean, we got another named clone, and within 2 episodes, he's already a favorite Star Wars character. And honestly, thanks to his little maneuver at the end, for good reason. I mean, he really has kind of cemented himself as a very key and important clone at this point in time, in a short time, because I do believe he is the one that is going to kind of show the other clones that it's okay to question these fuckfaces that took over for the Republic, and they aren't doing the right thing, and we are being used. And it sadly is going to lead to their genocide. I mean, this is it. I think this is it for the clones, the regs, outside the ones we know that survive. They are going to be killed now because the chips clearly degenerate, lose their effect, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So thank you, Captain Hauser, for giving us that clarity. I mean, I guess it makes sense now. I mean, outside of banging his head, why Wrecker was probably the next one to suffer from the chip, because he's a fucking dope, right? I mean,
yeah, he's dumb.
He's an idiot. I mean, I love the guy, but he's fucking dumb as a box of Mantel mix. All right, so good stuff. Do you remember the title for Friday? Or I guess we could look that up right now. I would like to spit a little bit on this.
Let's see.
I got it here.
Okay.
Just this StarWarsTime.net site sucks. It's slow. It has ads. All right, so episode Infested, and then War Mantle's going to be the one.
Ooh, it's coming.
I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna be out that week. Like I'll be there to do the video for 10 people, but I'm not gonna be able to comment on it. I don't know about this. I've been thinking about that. I've been worried about this because I'm a goofball with this shit. Even though a couple hundred people watch these videos now, but I'm like, damn it. I have a feeling that this next trip, I'm gonna miss a batch episode that is gonna be crucial, and I'm gonna feel the pull from the dark side to talk about it. But here's what I think I'm going to do. And you tell me if I'm a fucking idiot.
Okay.
If War Mantle is just like nuts from a key moments and lore perspective, what do you think about me kind of cutting my own take on it on like that Friday and having it and when we run your solo show, obviously you kick off the show, but when you get into the Bad Batch segment, maybe I'll like play mine and then you take over and give your own spin. Like I'll send mine to you so you kind of have ideas of what I had said. Not that you have to talk to my tape, but like, that idiot said this and this is what I think. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We'll try that out. I'll just like record, some audio, like blah, 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 if it's crazy. But I don't know how an episode titled War Mantle can't be crazy. But anyways, to this Friday, Infested, this is especially considering where we left off in 12, it's like, okay, I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, it's hard to speculate. Yeah, it's hard to speculate. Like, is it an actual infestation? Because usually we would be like, oh, it's probably not bugs, but like there was a whole episode of The Mandalorian that was literally about Mando running away from spiders. So it could legitimately be an episode like that. Or, I mean, I don't know. Do they go like deep with infestation and this is like a lead up into War Mantle where like the Imperial Army is now infested with like defectors, like clones that are losing their programming? That's kind of the spin I was thinking too, Nick. Is this infestation just a clever way of saying the Imperials are losing their brainwashed, zero free will having freedom or free fighting force? Yeah, but this could also just be one of those kind of randos, right? That gives us a break after a 2-arc run to kind of kick us into the final 3. I don't know. Infested's tough, but I'm going to run with you. Let's just go with maybe this is a clever way of saying that the Empire is starting to realize
that there is an infestation amongst the ranks of clones of free will. How's that?
Yeah. I agree with that.
All right. So, I mean, it's too bad we couldn't talk to Mr. Gillard about some of the Kenobi stuff, because he told us right there. He's like, listen, I know the guys on Kenobi. I know what they're doing, and they're not doing what I did, and they suck. I mean, that's what he said, right? Without saying it, that's what he said.
Yeah. I like how he said that.
It's very diplomatic. I'm putting my own spin on it, but I from what I heard Nick saying is like, listen, I could do better.
Yeah, well, it's the way that he explained it was special. Like he built fights around not moves, but the character personality.
Yeah, I love
character.
What he said about Kylo is just fantastic. Like, what a fucking guy. Nick Gillard is like my new hero. I love that guy, and I wasn't kidding. Like he really was. When I watched all those BTSs, I felt like I was just watching the Nick Gillard show starring Rick McCallum and Ben Burt and John Knoll, right? I mean, like those were the guys that were always doing the fun shit. Okay, so anyways, we got some good Kenobi shit, and you know, I don't typically like to give the poo flingers a lot of credit, but this has been getting corroborated amongst a few of them, so we ran with it. Obviously, we spoil shit left and right on this show. If you're new here, you might want to get used to that. I am never comfortable saying we're going to spoil something that hasn't even come out yet, because it's really just speculation and potential rumors. But just in case you're one of those people that gets all sensitive over any sort of potential spoiler for shit that could be a year away, there's your warning. All right. So we got some pretty massive updates from the Kenobi front. So much so, Nick, that I think we're starting to get some formation of what some of the plot threads could be. So this comes from Jordan Mazin, who's, you know, one of these people we've made fun of on Reddit. So like I said, take it for what it's worth, but it sounds like he's corroborated with his multiple sources. Other sites have corroborated Jordan's reporting. We're not corroborating shit. We're just going to put it out there and potentially speculate on it, because, hey, in the end, a lot of times the speculation on SWTS is actually better than the rumors and leaks and the poo fling. But anyways, so here's the big one. Again, spoiler alert, just in case. According to Jordan Mazin, we're not only going to get young Luke, which we knew was inevitable, but we're going to get young Leia, and that's not all. Young Leia is essentially going to be the MacGuffin that gets Obi-Wan mixed up in a new adventure.
I go back and listen to I said this almost, like, I don't know if I said it was a MacGuffin thing, but I was like, we're definitely going to get young Leia, and I was like, something is going to pull Kenobi off of Tatooine. There's no way this whole fucking show is going to take place in the desert. I was like, he's got to go.
And you know, as I usually do, I shit on Nick. I don't believe his theories. You know, I always want to be right. That is a personal problem of mine. I'm working on it. But with this knowledge, and I do buy this. I do buy this. I really do. I know we kind of put on a little gimmick and making fun of these people because, you know, I'm jealous. Ultimately, that's what it is. I want some attention like they get. I want people like Nick Gillard. Like we need more Nick Gillards. Like I think he likes us more than our own fans like us.
Yeah, I know,
you know what
right?
I mean? Like he's like, wow, you guys are really professional and shit. I'm like, whoa, like what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, I was like, man, that's the first time anybody's ever said that.
Yeah, we loop him into kind of our green room, and I'm like, well, shit may break. Hold on. He's like, nah, you guys are pretty professional. I'm like, hey, man, you are my fucking spirit animal these days. All right. So, Nick, I know, as much as I don't want to admit it, I do think you're right. I still don't know if it's going to involve him leaving Tatooine. But the idea that something could be imperiling Leia and maybe Bail or someone kind of reaching out to Kenobi, yeah, I could see that. Like, you know, maybe Inquisitors get wind of Force sensitives on Alderaan. Who knows? But it does sound like Leia is going to be the MacGuffin that kind of gets the party started, for lack of a better phrase. And apparently she's going to be played by Vivian Lyra Blair, If you've watched Bird Box or We Can Be Heroes, which I've watched multiple times because I have a little kid, she starred in both of those films. So what do you think there? I mean, obviously you're all about this because it kind of confirms your speculation here.
Yeah. I mean, if there was any reason for him to leave, it would be for Leia. Like, there's no other thing. Like, I don't think he would leave if he's like, oh, well, Vader is in a system near me. Let me go fucking try to take him out. I don't think he would ever do that. Like, he's got one charge, and it's to protect the Skywalker twins. And if you think about it, like, yeah, Leia's in the hands of the Organas, and they're on Alderaan and all this other shit, but like, what the fuck is Bail Organa gonna do if a Inquisitor walks up to his door,
right,
and is like, hey, that's not your kid, and we know that this is the daughter, or we know this is a Force sensitive kid that you're housing. I mean, they probably don't know that it's the Skywalker twin or that it's, Anakin's spawn, but they'll be like, why do you have a Force-sensitive child in your house? Like, and I mean, what the fuck is Bail Organa going to do? Like, you need somebody like Kenobi in there to like squash that thing.
I don't know. I mean, I trust the people. It'll be done right if it does happen. I've just really felt like he's not going to leave his little dude. I don't see it happening, but knowing the impact of losing little dude's other half, his twin, that probably would be the only thing to get that old loony Kenobi out of the Dune Sea. So that's the first update. Here comes the next one here, or a next one, as an idiot would say. Apparently, again, coming from Mason, we're going to get some Rebels characters popping up in Kenobi. He didn't really have any names. I'm kind of positioning that the ones that are most likely would be Hera, Chopper, Kanan, especially because of Hera's involvement in Bad Batch now. I mean, she has now been included in every main era of Star Wars all the way through the sequel trilogy, so she is becoming a legend-level character, if you will. Kanan, again, another Jedi on the run. There could be some play there, and, Chopper, if Hera's around, Chopper's around. I also threw out Agent Kallus as a potential cameo in the Kenobi series, because he would make sense to be in there. He'd still be kind of a young agent, and not even that young. He would be an agent in the Empire, working in what division did he work in, Nick? The same as Moff Gideon.
ISB, Security Bureau.
Obviously, someone like that who in Rebels was directly working with Inquisitors, he may already kind of be out there rooting and looking for Jedi or Rebel factions. I just, Sabine and Ezra are probably still too young to even be included. It just wouldn't make sense. Ezra's the same age as his twins, essentially, and Sabine would be a few years older than them. So that's why I'm saying Hera, Chopper, Kanan. Even that, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe Kallus or some of the bad guys from Rebels are more likely. But here's kind of a big one, and this isn't even so much coming from a leaker. This is coming from someone that is confirmed on the show, already, shooting scenes, and that is our buddy Sung Kang. All right. Mm-hmm. Han from Fast 5 and F9, whatever the fuck it's called, that crazy ass fucking Fast and the Furious movie. Family. Man, some of the memes with Dom were great, and I apologize to Tones and the rest of you, because you've given us some great ones, and I've just been a lazy asshole in getting them out on our Instagram at Star Wars Time Show. But there's been some just epic Dom family memes mashed with Star Wars.
There's so many. Like, I've never seen, like, recently, that is the most pervasive meme on the internet. It's just fucking everywhere.
It's the one Anakin's flying in his ETA-2 and Dom's in a car. It's like, Dom, wait, are you in space? He's like, nah, it's the power of family or something like that. Oh, shit, man. Family. Anyways, speaking of family, so Sung Kang did an interview with Rotten Tomatoes. And right there, he's like, yeah, we're on set with Vader and some other Jedi-like characters. It's like, oh, there you go. There's something to latch on to. So that's pretty much Vader and the Inquisitors. And if he's on set with them wearing what he called a very Star Wars costume, if you couple what he said with what some of the leakers are saying, I feel confident in saying that Sung Kang is 100% playing an Inquisitor, and that Inquisitor will be the fifth brother. All right? That is what we are getting from the Leakerverse and Kang himself without saying it, but pretty much said, yeah, I was on a set and I saw Vader was there and other Jedi-like people were there. It's like, okay, well, probably weren't a lot of Jedi at that time, but I know some other people with lightsabers at that time and why they'd be hanging out with Vader, so...
The only thing that I have against him, like, I think that he's 100% an Inquisitor, if that's the case. The fifth brother is a hard one to pull off because he'd have to be, Sung Kang would have to be in a lot of makeup, first off, because the fifth brother is the one that shows up on Malachor 5.
Oh, it's very stylized, like a big face, gray face, white eyes, right?
Yeah, and this dude was pretty fucking big. Like he was a pretty big dude, and Sung Kang is not that big. Like he's I don't want to say slight, but he's a smaller human being. So like, I mean, maybe he is, and maybe they're just like, whatever, fuck it, we'll just make him look like whatever we want him to look like. But he could also just be playing another, like, Nick,
I'm looking. I'm looking. He could do it. He could do it. I mean, you got to remember that Rebels was very stylized, very angular. I'm with you. I think the face makeup would probably be a bitch if they had to do that. Mm-hmm. But in terms of like the overall, and I know what you're saying. He did have wide, broad shoulders. But just I got some pictures up on the stream now. But I think that Kang could pull it off in a live action version of this character. I'm sure you'll have people out there bitching that his face isn't big enough or shoulders aren't wide enough, just like they were upset about, Tano's neck and head tails.
Yeah.
So anyways, that everyone out there is pretty much identifying Kang now as the fifth brother, but it continues, my friends. The scoops are not over yet. Apparently there'll be other familiar Inquisitors from Rebels as well. So you could have the second sister. Maybe that's who Moses is playing. There could be other Inquisitors. I mean, they don't just have to be, named ones. I mean, the Grand Inquisitor, where the fuck's he at? Maybe he's in there. Maybe that's who Kang's playing, and not Jason Isaacs or whoever voiced him. So, I think that was it from this one. We've got more updates. I mean, like I said, there was a lot of shit flooding out for Kenobi. So I feel like someone on set was getting flappy with their gums or something. But last week was odd because all the leakers seemed to kind of follow each other. It's like a coordinated effort of corroborated leaks. But he also said, and we've talked about this as a take it to the bank, but you are definitely going to see some Clone Wars flashbacks with a certain General Skywalker. So I mean that's like
total sense.
No duh. But the other ones that kind of came out like a day later after this, and again, spoilers for Kenobi. And if we believe the Princess Leia stuff, this leak isn't very far-fetched either, Nick, and that's the fact that the Droid Bros will make an appearance in Kenobi.
I mean, if you're in the Skywalker verse, which I consider this show still
I do too.
Yeah. So like they got to be there, right? You got to have them. Like they show up everywhere there. Yeah.
Especially if Leia's included, they're in her father's care, right? Or one of his captains. I mean, they belong to Captain Antilles. So
Antilles. Yeah, exactly.
So
maybe you get a Tantive 4 scene, like you're on the ship
100%. I mean that's too easy. I mean, and it could be. I don't think they're going to have any major moments or be a big part. I think it'll kind of be I don't think it will be as cameo-istic as they were in Rogue One, right? Like they're just like, oh, there they go, and it's like, okay, hey guys, hey goldenrod, hey you oil bucket, or what does he call him? You rust bucket.
Rust bucket.
I always felt bad for R2. I mean, in A New Hope, C-3PO is the worst. He is the meanest motherfucker around to that little guy.
Just treats him like complete garbage.
Like shit.
And it's just, and then you see the prequels, and you're like, dude. R2-D2 saved your life multiple times.
You know what it is? I think it's the fact that I think he blames R2 ultimately for taking him away from just being a farmer droid and getting him mixed up in space adventures, and he can't let it go. He has to just fucking harass him at every corner.
I could have had a simple life.
He's
I
like,
could have been.
I mean, he even physically assaults him in A New Hope. Like it's verbal and physical abuse from fucking Goldenrod. What a dickhead. But yeah, I definitely could see them showing up in Kenobi, especially if the Leia rumor is true. It just seems like a no-brainer. It doesn't have to be anything over the top. It could be a quip from C-3PO and a few beep beeps from R2. And, you know, that would get our nipples hard. I mean, I still go back to the Luke moment. I mean, I was already sobbing, and then R2 rolls up. I'm like, R2-2! This is beautiful. I love you, John. I love you, Dave. But yeah, so there you go. Those are all the Kenobi updates, and like I said, I think they were good ones, and it seemed like a coordinated effort. So that's why I'm kind of buying into some of these versus usually sitting here and lampooning the leakers. So
and it's all shit that we've speculated on too.
Of course,
and
of course,
it's all stuff that like makes sense. You know.
No, you are right. We are still the best. We still know the most. We still say the best shit. But we will give these people some credit every once in a while.
I mean, they finally came around to something that we said 4 or 5 months ago. So
yeah,
congratulations.
There you go. Yeah, no, I mean, he is kind of right. Even though I was kind of being the shithead, like, no, there's no way Kenobi leaves. But you're getting me to buy into it a bit more. I'm still gonna hold on till I see him take off in a blasted starship.
Maybe
Boba Fett's starship.
He gets all the way to Mos Eisley. And he's like standing outside of the fucking the takeoff, like right outside of the ship, and then he just decides not to leave. Like he's like that close. He's like, I gotta go, and then he just walks back.
Or like he has to take like an emergency diarrhea and misses his transport off planet, and he's fucked, and Leia gets corrupted. But I don't know. I like the updates. It sounds like the show is still filming, but at this point that they're probably 2 to 3 months in. I mean, you would figure that they're almost done because it's only a 6 episode run, right? 4 episode run. Man, I think you're right, but 6 sounds so much better. Let's just pretend it's 6 for now.
Yeah.
I don't like what is it? When did we get to just reducing seasons of shows to like a handful? Why did that become a thing? Like, you know, back in the day, I remember Breaking Bad season 1 was only like 6 or 7, but that was just kind of like it's pitch season. Like, hey, can this thing live? And then they started making slightly longer seasons. But it seems these days, and I think it's Disney Plus starting Mando at 8 episodes. It's like, hey, fuck it.
Yeah,
we'll call a season of 6 episodes a season. It's like, no, especially when they're like 40 minutes or less. That's not a fucking season. That's a long movie.
Loki. So Kenobi 6, Loki was 6. I mean, Mando S1 was 8.
Yeah, 8.
I think it's because they're like, they know if you give them less, you can milk it for longer. Like, why would I make 22 episodes of Mando in season 1 and then only be able to do maybe 2 more seasons of it, where you can essentially cover 3 seasons in the span of what you would be able to cover with 1 previously.
So why did they do 16 with Bad Batch then?
Because it's cheaper. That's dude, I'm telling you. Because it's cheaper. Like they had
even Clone Wars, even Clone Wars Returns. I think would they do 12? I mean, it was still like a little dinker winker. So I don't know. Hey, whatever. I'm not. As long as we keep getting it, I don't care. But just I'm a glutton for this type of shit. I mean,
they probably asked the people. They're like, hey, like previously the studios who were like Fox would be like, hey, fucking Fringe or whatever TV show, you're making 22 episodes this season, you got to do it. That's what we said. Now they probably put it up to the creatives. Like they probably asked Deborah Chow. It's like, well, what do you think you can do? Like how many episodes? Yeah, I mean, there is a
quality v quantity argument to be made. It seems like it's everywhere because I'm at night just to have background shit on. I've been watching all the old Star Trek TV shows, and I'm on Enterprise now, which has the worst fucking theme song. I've said this before. I want all of you, there's some homework, whether you like Star Trek or not. Look up the opening song for Star Trek Enterprise and tell me how that has any place in a science fiction franchise. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yet the song is stuck in my head because at night now, I told you guys last week I got like a Big Boy Swago account. So I put so much more time into the game now. Like it's almost annoying how much more time I've been putting in because I feel obligated to kind of keep up with the Joneses. So I've been ripping through Enterprise and I hear that damn theme song like every 40 minutes. But back to my point, those seasons, Generations, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, I mean, they would get into like the mid-20s, like 26, 25 episodes. Alias, we just finished. That too was hitting in the 20s for most seasons. But these days, even regular TV, it seems almost everything is pared down to sub-20. I'm just kind of sad. I just want more content, Let's draw it out a little bit longer. But I guess at least we get that with the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Okay, story time. With main dude, and the reason for that is we got the second issue of the proper War of the Bounty Hunters comic miniseries. So if you've been listening to the show, I've been covering this miniseries since it launched with issue 0. This is the War of the Bounty Hunters. It is a true miniseries that also crosses over with all the other proper Marvel runs at the time. So Bounty Hunter, Aphra, Vader, Star Wars. I think there's going to be a one-off Jabba and a one-off 4-LOM and Zuckuss that are also going to tie into it. And it's been fantastic. And the main gist of what's going on is Crimson Dawn is trying to come back into power in the galaxy, and to do so, their leader, who happens to still be Kira from Solo, stole Han in Carbonite from Boba Fett after Empire Strikes Back. All right, so this has caused literally the entire galaxy. I'm talking the Empire, the Rebellion, the Bounty Hunters, the Underworld to stop, drop, and roll. No, just drop everything they're doing to go and bid on Han Solo. So Han Solo, think about how Han would feel knowing this, Nick. A guy like Han, if someone told him, like, Han, did you know at one point in time, the entire fucking galaxy was consumed with your body in carbonite? He would love that. Like, Han Solo, that would give him a boner for months. To know that,
rightfully so.
Yeah, that's all he wanted in the Solo movie. He wanted to be known. I want to be the best pilot to get the best smuggler, the best this. Well, guess what, Han? You finally got your dream. It just so happens to be with your ex-girlfriend who is using you to come back into power in the galaxy's underworld. So anyways, we've gotten through all the other comics, all the other tie-ins. We are at this big auction at this point in time. The party's going down. The auction's about to begin. Kira's about ready to sell Han Solo to the highest bidder. But what we also know is that Boba Fett knows what's going down now. So in War of the Bounty Hunters #2, which is essentially from his point of view and not any of the other ones, which I'm loving the crossovers, Nick, because this one in particular was almost, it mirrored what happened in the Aphra issue from last week, but it told it from a different angle and perspective, so you actually saw what Boba was doing before. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So anyways, all these players are here. Aphra's there, other bounty hunters are there, Boba's there. I mean, in this one, the main canon to kind of pull from War of the Bounty Hunters #2 is the fact that before he even gets to the party, he gets waylaid by Bossk. Literally, I would call him his uncle, right? His de facto uncle. Bounty hunter uncle. And because Boba's Boba and Bossk is Bossk, Boba ends up blowing his legs off so he can go unimpeded to this auction. So Boba Fett, to his former mentor and I dare say caretaker, blows his fucking legs clean off his body to get away. And I don't know what it was. It's like, hey, Boba, don't leave me out here, man. I'm a reptile. I'm cold-blooded. And Boba just turns around and he goes, so am I. And I'm like, yeah, Boba! Boba Fett! I mean, the guy is such a fucking pimp, dude. Like I said, and, those of you that are in the know, you remember Boba Fett Gate from last year during the Mandalorian on this show, Fetgate as we call it around this town. I did not like OT Boba Fett. I based my opinions based on how he's portrayed in the movie, which at this point in time have been confirmed and supported by the man that plays Boba himself. I mean, Tamara Morrison's like, listen, Boba Fett in the movies was a fucking putz. He did nothing but stand there and say a few lines. But now, thanks to the resurgence of Neo Fett and this comic run, I get it. He is a fucking animal, like an animal. Because that was my lead here. Boba Fett and Bossk had a falling out after Empire Strikes Back. And, I know bounty hunters are bounty hunters, but throughout the Clone Wars, Bossk and Aurra Sing were Boba Fett's de facto adoptive mother and father. As fucked up as their teachings were to young Boba, that's who they were. And Boba has absolutely no problem blowing Bosk's essentially lower half off to get what he wants. And I thought it was brilliant. Plus the line, like, so am I, when it comes to being cold-blooded.
Do you think he just grows his legs back?
Yeah, no, I mean,
that lizard.
Yep, you're spot on. And Bossk actually says that. He's like, these will grow back. And Boba's like, yeah, but not in time. He's like, fuck you, I'm out of here. I win again. So anyways, that happens before Fett gets to the palace. And another just kind of cool lore thing for dorks like us, he obviously has to wear a disguise in there because Jabba himself has an open bounty on Boba at this point in time. So he's wearing this kind of hooded thing, and he's in there, and he spots Aphra and Sena, and he's like, hey. And they're like, hey, we've heard this voice before in the holo recording for the Battle of Coruscant or something. They're like, we know what you are. And he's like, yeah, but you don't know who I am. I just thought it was cool that they played on the whole, Boba Fett's a clone, his voice. Yeah. It was very similar to Bo-Katan's quip in The Mandalorian. Like, I've heard that voice, you fuckface, you're a scumbag. Kind of same thing. So Boba enlists the help of Aphra and Sena. And people should be familiar with Sena, I don't know how you say it. This is one of Han Solo's, I think they were married at some point in time for a hustle. But anyway, she has some sort of affinity for the Solo. So Boba's like, listen, some shit's going to go down. On my signal, I need you guys to provide a distraction. Because Fett's like, fuck this. Solo's mine. I'm getting him back. Fuck the auction. And I'm also going to kill Qi'ra. Because he's like, she's the one that fucked up my bounty. Like, she's the one that got Jabba to put a bounty on my head. So he has no love for Qi'ra. So just as it looks like shit's about to go down, right? He puts the armor back on. He's ready to fucking party, Beskar style. All right. Guess who walks in just as the winning bid of millions of credits goes to Jabba the Hutt? Who do you think could walk in and just their presence alone kind of just provide a hush over the entire crowd? And everyone's head would turn at once. Who do you think could show up at this shindig and get everyone to stop? We know he's in search. It is none other than the Dark Lord of the Sith, Lord Vader. Okay. So he shows up because we knew from my Vader recap that he also, again, he wants Han Solo because he feels that Han Solo makes his son a pussy. In Vader's head, Luke has achieved nothing without his friends, but needs his friends to be excellent. So Vader's big mission these days to fuck with his son is to take out his buddies, starting with Han Solo because of what Han did to him in the trench run at A New Hope. So just as Jabba thinks he bought himself what he already bought through Boba Fett, and that is some wall art in the form of Solo and Carbonite, Vader walks in. And as Qi'ra says, sold, Vader says something very, very Vader, don't quote me, but he's like, no, Han Solo is mine. And that's kind of where it ends. So Boba and Aphra, they didn't get to enact their plan yet. Everything kind of ends with War of the Bounty Hunters #2 with Vader showing up to the party with Ochi and everyone just going, oh, fuck. Because, I mean, the Hutts want Solo so bad. I mean, they overbid by like millions and millions of credits just to get him, and then you have Vader walk in and basically go, nope, I'm fucking Vader, he's mine, suck a dick. So that's kind of where we're at This week, I believe I will get some crossover love through a Vader issue, which I'm looking forward to. So as always, I ask you if you kind of like these recaps of the recent or the ongoing Marvel Star Wars comics, make sure to be subbed to our YouTube channel, which you should do right now. If you're new here, you know maybe came in to check out Nick Gillard and you're like, hey, these guys don't suck as bad as everyone says. I want to stick around. I want to be informed. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. Do the thumbs up, leave a comment, tell us we suck, whatever you got to do. But anything is better than no action. Action is always better than no action. I should have the Vader recap up later this week, probably Thursday. And I'm looking forward to it because I would assume it's going to pick up right where things left off to see if Vader actually does get his quarry or not.
I was going to say, it seems like we may have some more twists and turns before we get to Solo's ultimate destination.
That's the best part.
Wall of Jabba the Hutt.
That's the best part. I mean, we know he ultimately lands there, but I think half the fun is just seeing this circus that his casket, if you will, has been on. I mean, it's been all over. They went to Nar Shaddaa. Now they're on whatever.
It's like Weekend at Bernie's.
That's exactly what it is. You just need someone to put some marionette strings on the carbonite casing now and just move it back and forth. Like, hey, I'm Han Solo. I used to be a smuggler. Ha ha ha. Stuff like that. So, like Tones is saying in the chat, if you're not into full-on words and shit for Star Wars, I can't recommend a better bit of Star Wars lore at the moment than what they're doing with War of the Bounty Hunters. And that includes buying all of the other series, at least the crossover issues, to just see the little nuanced stuff. Because even the stuff that's going on in Bounty Hunters with Valance and Dangar has been revealing. Because each one of these little standalones ultimately peel more layers off of the overall War of the Bounty Hunters narrative, and it's been rather excellent. All right, dude, what do we got? Gamers. Not that we're not already perpetually disappointed with EA and their Star Wars license, but over the weekend or maybe late last week, we kind of got the death nail in getting any good Star Wars new game news this year. Because according to the EA Star Wars Twitter, we won't be showing any new Star Wars games at EA Play Live on July 22nd. But all of us look forward to celebrating with you next year when we share our vision for the galaxy far, far away.
Next year.
So yeah, well, you know what that is. That's like, yeah, we'll tell you at Star Wars Celebration 2022.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, they even telegraph. We look forward to celebrating with you next year. So
yeah. I mean, so for those of you who are looking for Star Wars game content, the only thing you got coming that's new is the new update to SWTOR, the MMO. That's going to be dropping in November, I believe. And then really, that's about it. I mean, you got all the other stuff out there to play, I guess. If you haven't played SWGO, you can get on play SWGO. If you haven't played any of the other games too.
Well, apparently to some of our older fans, don't recommend playing KOTOR because they're like, that game is a piece of shit. We had a new active member in the Discord. It seems like him and Tones are hitting it off, but they're both like, yeah, we can't touch fucking KOTOR with a 10-foot pole. They're like,
I mean, if you play it now,
yes, the gameplay is pretty. It's archaic, yeah. But it's the story, people. It's the story.
It's a story-driven game. The combat's kind of clunky. It's not great. You got these weird starts and stops. You got to queue up all of your actions and stuff like that. But you don't play KOTOR for that. You play it for the story that's being told and stuff. So, but to each their own. What can I say?
Hey, check that out.
Can't force you to play it.
Look at this guy. He finally subbed to us. 1-6 shooter. Thanks, Trevor.
Thanks, Trevor.
See what I mean? And you guys wonder why I have like Star Wars Time Show, No One Loves Me PTSD. Come on. It's hilarious. I get it. A lot of us, we don't think to subscribe, but that, that's why we say it. That's why we remind you. Please bring it. Thank you, Trevor, at 16shooter.
Trevor was hemming and hawing about not being on the show.
I love it.
Not getting.
And he's one of our biggest cheerleaders. He's like, Matt, shut the fuck up. You're annoying. You hate yourself too much. You guys are good. And look, see, not even he could subscribe to the show until now. So hey, we'll take it sooner than later. It doesn't matter. We appreciate it. Thank you, Trevor. All right. It's toy time, and there's a lot of them, but we'll go through them quick because I know Nick would rather be watching paint dry at this point in time, I think. But boy, oh boy, us Hot Toys fans are in a lot of fucking trouble, Nick. A lot of trouble. Things
I'm seeing that.
Yeah, things are getting dire these days with Hot Toys and all the figures they are making from The Mandalorian to Season 1 and Season 2. If you're a long-time listener, I've gone way the fuck off the deep end with Hot Toys and Mandalorian figures. I just checked today. I believe I'm almost to 30 pre-orders right now. It's kind of sickening when I think about it for too long, so I'm just going to move on. Stop it, Nick. I don't want to think about it. It makes me cry, okay? But anyways, last week and even this week, we'll pull up some of the stuff that was literally shared today and yesterday. But last week, the initial salvo where I was like, oh my God, it never ends with these people. But they revealed the Mandalorian Boba Fett repaint figure with throne set. And just you can just get the repaint, but only pussies get the regular. Only real collectors get the stuff you probably don't need, but it looks cool and you know it's better than the standard, so you have to get it. All right. But anyways, Nick, look at this guy. So what we have here is what a lot of people I think were waiting for, because you know me, I snagged the first deluxe Boba Fett from Mando as soon as it came out. It was Nomad Fett as well as Acid Wash Fett, right? I was like, you got to get it. You got to get the 2 set. You got to get all the Fets. And people were like, nah, they'll be doing a repaint. I'm going to wait. I'm like, cool. I'll wait too. And I'm going to fucking get that one as well. But the repaint is here and it is glorious.
Yep.
Because if you go with the mega set, like I said, you get the fucking throne. You get the throne he sits on in the Stinger. And it is a set piece to behold, right?
That throne is, I mean, like, that is really fucking well done. And I mean, look, Hot Toys is the best, we know it, but like that throne just looks above and beyond.
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
I could have expected.
like our buddies are saying in here. I agree. I mean, it's easier to make bigger things look nice. So I think the fact that Bat and Johnny, that they make the 1/12 scale thrones and they put custom paint jobs on it, I do think their thrones are beautiful as well. But in terms of the set, there is no question which one you get, okay? You get the one with the throne, because not only do you get the throne, but you're going to get a Tamara Morrison head, all right? So for someone like me, it was a little rough coughing up the cash to get this thing, because what would this fucking set cost? It was ridiculous, man. I think it was like $390, I think, with the throne. Yeah, let's check it out.
With the throne, $390. Yes, indeed.
So $390. So Nick, here, let me break it down for you. So the throne and the head sculpt is going to cost you an extra $145.
I mean, okay. For the throne, I get it. I get it. That throne is like next level crazy good. Like I could see that. But man, $390 is that's a pretty penny.
What do you think my dumbass did when you consider I've already dropped what was it, $500 on the 2 Fett set?
Oh, you day one.
Yeah.
Day one,
right.
Special edition.
Thank you. It's that easy. And don't give me this, Hideous is out there. It's like, oh, I've been waiting for this one. I got the best one. I'm like, no, you don't. I have the best 3. I have the Boba Fett triumvirate. All right?
Yeah.
Just like Traya, Nihilus, and Scion, I now have pre-ordered the Boba Fett Mandalorian style triumvirate from Hot Toys. I will say this, though, because I do believe I get a unmasked head in my double Barbie set. there's a good chance, if it isn't any different than the one in this throne set, that I will be offering that one up for sale to try and recoup some hard-earned cashola. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Here, Matt, I got a picture idea for you.
Okay.
I'm going to pitch it to you right now. So you remember how like a few months ago, everybody was doing those like images where it was like somebody is like doing a force push and then like they get knocked back and like their soul comes out of their body and you see it behind them. You need to do one where it's like they're doing that to Boba, but like repaint Boba's flying back and then fucking acid wash Boba flies out of his back and then Nomad Boba flies out of his back.
Look at you.
And then fucking Kid Boba flies out of his back.
See? With your ideas and someone else's skills, you could definitely pull that off, because that is well beyond my ability. Like, I would probably break my own fingers just trying to get the four figures to stand up on wires and shit to create the look. But I think that's a brilliant idea, and if I see any of you cocksuckers do it, you better give credit to Nick, all right?
Hey. If any, I know that some of our toy photo bros are in here listening. I see Jared typing in the chat, Kingdom, all the toy photographers are here. Somebody pull that shit off, because I want to. No,
I'm not kidding. Like, I think it's a beautiful. I love the idea. I mean, and it does play on, you know, what I think Plastic Action was the first one to do that, where he was beating the Anakin's soul out of Darth Vader's body.
Vader, yeah.
And other people have done it after the fact, but I love the idea. But in the end, you got to collect them all. It's like, what is it? It's like, is that Pokemon? Got to catch them all. You don't fuck around with these things, especially when it comes to Neo Fett. You don't fuck around. There we go. Connor's gonna steal it, so that's press pause.
Good.
I know he can pull it off. So just make sure to. The whole caption should just read, Star Wars Time Show is everything. Star Wars Time Show is life. All hail the Star Wars Time Show.
There we go. Press pause. Waiting to see it, bro.
But no, I mean, hey, in the end, I'm going to regret having car payments worth of Hot Toys, but I'll tell you what. I'm excited to get him. I'm excited to get this Fett. I know some people were ragging on the paint job, but I kind of like that it looks kind of shady. It kind of plays into, well, how did he get it painted? Well, he fucking painted it in flight, and it looks a little fucked up. So that's how he painted it.
You know? Dude didn't take it to like a professional painter. He had some green paint laying in his fucking ship.
Just hang it in there, you know, as the ship was swaying back and forth. He had his little paint gun out. He's like, oh, whoa, watch out. Oh, I fucked that one up. Got to repaint over it again. So he's out there. You can pre-order him. Like I said, the mega one, the one you should get is $390, and the other one I believe is $285 or something like that. So just do what a lot of us do and somehow justify that $145 isn't that much more money. So upgrade to it's funny. My wife's like, hey, you know, we're talking about redoing the deck, and she's like, if we get the bar railing, it's an extra $1,000. I was like, whoa. I am the worst person to ask about incremental upgrades, because I can convince myself that any amount of better is worth that amount of money. So if you want me to say, no, we don't need to spend another $1,000, then don't ask for my opinion, because I will be like, yeah, fucking upgrade it. Upgrade the shit. Like, I always want the deluxe.
Like, so Taylor's getting her Tesla in on the 27th.
Oh, I didn't know this. You guys are going to be a Tesla family.
Yeah, so
look at you guys. Look at these guys making some fucking cheese down there.
A few months ago, like we did the test drive and all the stuff down at the Tesla place in Austin. And when you order the car, they're like, okay, so you can get the car, blah, blah, blah. It's this much. If you want to get autopilot, which is like the full self-driving thing, it's an extra $10,000.
Yeah, Nick's like, sign me up, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was like, and Taylor was like, I don't know, we're never going to use it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, if we're getting a Tesla, we have to have the auto drive thing. There's no way we can get that without having it. And I was like, I'll pay. If you don't want it, I'll pay.
Damn straight. See, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm sure, I'm sure you do it on any bit of tech you buy too, right? You were buying a graphics card last week or something, or a CPU. I bet if there were multiple models, you probably landed on the most expensive that had the most bells and whistles, right?
Oh yeah, that it's just
just an extra $250 for the liquid cool shit. Why not? Yeah, that'll do it. I did it on the Steam Deck. Okay, so I don't know if there's any gamers out there. Version? Like I steady FOMO'd last week on Valve's Steam Deck, which is going to be their version of a portable PC. It looks fucking rad. I'm not going to lie, but I'm also not going to bullshit you that I have absolutely zero need for it. Yet the sickness of, oh my God, it's new tech and it's gaming tech. I gotta get it. So there's three flavors, right? There was one as low as $399 and as one as high as $629. And I'm sitting there trying to make my decision. And after a while, I'm just like, who the fuck are you kidding, dude? Who are you kidding? You know, you're never going to get the base model. That's like not even in your lexicon, base model. Like, fuck you. So let's go to the middle. All right, so what's the difference between middle and top? $120. All right, what's the difference in tech? Slightly faster and slightly more storage. Okay, sold. I'll take the Primo edition. It's like, you're not going to use it. You're just going to look at it for maybe 2 days when it shows up. But I still felt the need to get the best. So...
I mean, you can now partake in the sickness that all of us PC users do every time a Steam sale comes up.
Oh, I used to.
Oh my God, I can get this game for $5 and this game for $5.
You know what's funny,
like
Nick?
$8 shit in it.
It's funny you say that because you had to do it all through Steam, which I think was nice. I think it helped to eliminate some scalping and bullshit. They did run into some tech issues when the pre-order went live. But I think it was just, they didn't plan accordingly, as most of these fuck faces do. It's like, look, just look at the PS5 and Xbox launch and do better. I'm sure Valve is on some sort of cloud platform or their own where they could have dynamically provisioned more capacity, but no. Just let it turn it, like, because Nick knew. I'm like, fuck, they're sold out already. I fucking missed out. I'm not going to get it day one. I'm not going to get it day one. And even Nick's like, holy shit, I can't believe they sold out. And it was just their fucking server shit the bed. And later on in the day, I was able to get in. But sure enough, I got in. It's like, I don't need any of these. I definitely don't need the most expensive one, but I walk away in my shopping cart with the most expensive one. So...
There you go.
But back to the Steam thing, because you had to log in, I have been able to avoid the Steam sickness, Nick, since 2014. That's how long it's been. Ooh, but that right there, I could see. I looked at my purchases. Right there was the 2014 79 game Star Wars bundle. And that's one of the main reasons, and I know people are going to roll their eyes and be like, you are a fucking moron. That's one of the reasons I got this Steam Deck, to get to my fucking Star Wars computer games from 1990. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Right?
I bought
time to play.
Like, Nick knows better than me. I mean, he looked at the Steam Deck. I have another guy that's in the PCs. They're like, no, that is a fucking legit gaming PC for what it is. That is a legit gaming PC. And Nick's like, if that thing docks, it's completely legit. And I'm like, guess what, Nick? It docks. I can plug it right in my TV and play right on that thing. But it's like, why? I'm going to be playing fucking games that could be played on an iPhone.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to be playing Empire at War.
That's what I dude.
Pixelated
you hit it. I want to play Galactic Battlegrounds. I want to play Empire at War. I want to maybe go back and try X-Wing and TIE Fighter, shit like that.
Some people are going to be sitting there playing like Death Stranding and Cyberpunk and all.
Not me.
That's going to be like 1995 Star Wars, baby. Here we go.
It just. I know I'm going. I already, and I told this to Nick, I already regret the buy. I still think I have a ripcord moment where when they come back and be like, hey, now you need to really pay for it, I could be like, hey, fuck you, keep my $5. But I have a feeling I'll keep it, because I actually do believe this thing is going to be legit. I've always appreciated Valve and what they do. And kind of how they operate their business and whatnot. The fact that you can dock it, the fact that I really don't have a any type of non-Mac computer in the house was another reason. Like, why not? I'm sure, even though it's running SteamOS, I'm sure you can get Windows thrown on there.
Oh, you can download Windows on it. Right. That's already confirmed. So, I mean, it's a good purchase if you're not a PC person.
Yeah, so. I mean, listen, I don't like fucking with PCs. I don't like constantly upgrading. Like Nick just got a new CPU last week, and I'm sure that's a thrill. I'm sure he likes opening up his box and installing that shit and crossing his fingers and hoping all the drivers work out and that it's going to turn back on.
Trust me, I installed it. I turned it on. Black screen.
Thank you.
I had to flash. I forgot that I needed to update my BIOS.
Yep. You always got to do your BIOS if you put a new chip in, my friend. You got to do the BIOS.
I forgot. It had been so long since I got a new CPU that I was like, oh yeah, I got to flash my BIOS. But and then after that, it worked fine.
And that's the thing. At my point in my life, and really because I did a lot of that stuff professionally, never in my gaming time did I want to fuck with that. Like a black screen, like, oh fuck, I did something wrong.
I just thought it was fun. I like the little puzzle when that pops up.
I get it. I like it. I'm not shitting on the master race here. I totally understand why you all like playing on your PCs. I would just rather do other things with my time than fucking troubleshoot computers when they don't play a fucking game that I can just stick into a console and it plays, unless it's Cyberpunk. Right. You know what I mean? But I feel like the Steam Deck is going to give me kind of the best of both worlds. It's going to give me the PC toggling and all that bullshit, but also the laziness of a console. Just sit my fat ass on the couch or outside or dock it and play on the TV.
Yeah. I think it's going to be good. I will say that my PC is now future-proof for like the next 5 to 10 years.
Oh, I don't know about 5 to 10, brother. I mean,
I have 32 gigs of RAM. I have the brand new NVIDIA 30 series, one of the 30 series graphics cards, so that's brand new. I have the new top of the line AMD processor that just came out like 6 months ago. Like I feel like for 5 years, I'm set.
Yeah, 5 is a better call, but you know as well as I do how fast shit is moving these days. So 32 gigs of RAM in 5 years will probably be silly, just like 16 gigs of RAM is funny these days. But no, it is funny. So, hey, best of luck to you, because that shit ain't cheap to stay on top of. All right, so speaking of not cheap, back to the hot toy circuit where a lot of us are vomiting up thousands of dollars these days. The other one we got, and hopefully those of you that are crazy like me and feel like you got to get them all, but the Armorer was revealed. It's a the ToyCon exclusive or Toy Fair exclusive, which is going on right now this week with Sideshow. And if you did not register with them, I do not think you are allowed to pre-order this figure. I did. I pre-ordered it. More money to waste, but she, if you signed up to get her, you should have gotten the email to pre-order at this point. After this, I think you're going to be left to eBay, or if they have leftovers, maybe a wait list on Sideshow. But she's out there too. It's not over yet with the hot toys because, like I said, we got Toy Fair going on. Sideshow's showing some shit off in the 1/6 scale range. I'm on Exclu's Instagram. They came back to life. I still don't know what the fuck happened to Exclu magazine. Trevor's never given me the DL, if you will. But Jack's at least back, or someone's at least back to posting on Instagram. So they captured some of the other new reveals this week. So here's all the ones that I'm going to have to consider, Nick. Mm-hmm. Casca Reeves has been added to the Hot Toys 1/6 scale line. Axe Woves has been added to the 1/6 scale line. If you're looking at the image of Boba Fett's throne, you should not be surprised that Fennec Shand has also been confirmed for the 1/6 scale line, as has Cobb Vanth, who has been confirmed, and you can see him if you're on the live stream. So the one I do not see over here that also was put out there is Hot Toys is now getting into the 1/6 scale diorama business, and they're going to have the Mandalorian hideout diorama at the 1/6 scale. So some of these reveals I'm going to have to really think on. Casca might be a must.
I was going to say, Axe seems like the one that people will probably skip on most.
At this point in time, you're 100% correct. I think I can pass on Axe. Although I have a feeling in season 3 he's probably going to become like this major character, and I will have missed out. But hey, such is life. Cobb Vanth may be another one I can pass on, but I don't know. I think the character looks unique. I like the mix of kind of the cowboy garb with Mandalorian armor. It looks different. Like I said, when I kind of kicked this segment off, Hot Toys, Star Wars fans, 1/6 scale collectors, shit is getting dire. Especially with the Mandalorian line. Like, it's ridiculous. And as Tone said, and I think he's correct, it's inevitable that we're going to get a Jedi Master Luke or a Jedi Knight Luke at this point in time.
Jedi Knight Luke from
based on Mandalorian, yeah. So maybe it'll even be a Jedi R2 Grogu deluxe set. You know what I mean? Like get all 3. So it's getting ugly. Good thing I guess my wife got a new job, and one of these days maybe like a C-suite player the way she's going, because we're going to need that. Otherwise, I'm going to bury us in toy debt, and my kid's essentially going to have to be taught by me again if I'm still teaching at a community college when she's old enough, because there's not going to be any fucking funds for extraneous type of stuff because of Hot Toys.
Oh, man.
All right, so 1/6 shooter, and I can agree with him on this. He's saying Vanth better have an unmasked sculpt. That's a good point. So maybe if he doesn't, that's where we'll pass. If he does, it's a no-brainer. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you are saying, Trevor? Thank you. Okay, some more new toys real quick for us Lego fans out there. We got a new Ultimate Collector Series set from the Clone Wars era, and it is going to be the Republic Gunship. So this thing looks pretty badass. It's going to be 3,292 pieces, 13 inches high, 29 inches wide, 27 inches long. Curiously, though, you're only getting 2 minifigs. You're getting Mace and a Clone Trooper Commander. But if you're on the stream, you can check out some shots or the trailer. The UCS, Nick,
is a big-ass piece.
Yeah, it's kind of where they take sets that might have been scaled down a bit and a little more affordable and easy to build, and kind of take them into the Masters arena in terms of difficulty and just time required. But this thing is massive. It is a beast.
Yeah.
And for its size, I was surprised that it was only clocking in at 350. I know when I say only 350, a lot of you probably just threw up in your mouth. Like, that's how...
What?
Yeah, that's how desensitized I've made myself to Star Wars collectibles and what they cost these days. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just 350. Oh, I'll just get the 390 Boba Fett set. I'm not like a daddy Warbucks by any fucking stretch of the matter here. I'm a fucking asshole. I know what I like, and I like what I know, and I can't help myself. But typically, I believe the UCF Mac Daddy Falcon was close to 500-600. I believe the Mac Daddy Star Destroyer was like 700. So I found this Republic gunship in the UCS line at 350 to be, dare I say, a deal. But this set, you can check it out on StarWarsTime.net if you have not seen what it looks like. It does look like it's going to be a fun build. Apparently, it's got... I forget one of the initial blurbs. It was like one of the biggest moving parts in any Star Wars Lego set ever.
The door.
Yeah.
That.
So you got that going for you. But August 1st, this thing goes on sale. It looks like it's going to be a Lego store exclusive and Lego.com.
Nice.
But 8/1, you should be able to snag it if you're interested.
There we go.
Okay.
Good shit.
That was it, right? We got it all?
That was it. We hit everything, guys.
We're actually doing pretty good. For an interview show, I thought we'd be getting close to 4 hours, but I guess I spoke too soon. We still have the fan segment to go. So
we still got the fan segment. I will say
cocksucking fans.
You guys just, we give you 3 hours of content, and then you just ask for more constantly. So we give you more. And this week we got our fan question of the week, like we do all of the weeks for Bad Batch. It's what's your favorite moment from Bad Batch Rescue on Ryloth? And we got some answers for you here. The only 5 answers that were on the post when I pulled.
I'm guessing they're all just too excited for Mr. Gillard to be on the show.
Mr. Gillard, yeah. I mean, hey, I get that because that was a fantastic. Every interview that we've done has been really good, especially the ones with like the actual star, like people who've worked on Star Wars. But I mean, Nick was something special.
From my perspective, I love talking to the community because it's like talking to friends. I mean, it's really no different than you and I shooting the shit for the most part, even though we don't directly know any of these people. I mean, hell, I've met Trevor in person for 10 minutes, had a chat, a hug, maybe swigged a beer, but it's not like we've ever hung out and had deep talks. But when we get on the show, it feels like we've known each other for years, and it's fun, it's relaxed. When we get someone like Nick Gillard or Silas or some of the other ones that we're supposed to get, but things just didn't work out, I don't want to say I get nervous. It's more of like an excitement. Like, I don't want to fuck this up. I don't want these people to have a bad time, and I want our fans to at least feel like we gave them something that they haven't heard before. So I do. I'm not gonna lie. This show had me, kind of feeling it a bit. Not as much as Silas, because that was the first time we ever talked to an actual Star Wars person on air.
Yeah.
So I kind of broke through that. But even as loud as I am sometime, as extroverted as I may seem sometime, I am still that introverted, shy person that can't believe he talks in front of people for a living these days. So I was worked up for Nick today. But I think I was able to contain it. I noticed when we went right into the interview, I wasn't getting my little sweats going on that I got with Silas. I could tell like my heart was at a regular beat because I wasn't like trying to catch my breath from that nervous excitement feeling. Yeah. So
I think he was so relaxed, like just his demeanor. He's sitting with his, he's got a hat on, he's got a t-shirt. He was just so relaxed. And I think that you called him out at the end. I think those seagulls just cawing every so often that put us in that relaxed mood a little bit.
It's like when he first came in, it's like, hey, Nick, where the hell are you at? Are you on like a stage somewhere? He's like, no, I stole those signs from a lot. I was on. Nah, he was just he was a good fucking dude. And I don't know, it just makes me feel proud of us that he was like, yo, you guys were fucking fun. If more interviews went like this one, I would probably not be so hermit-like, for lack of a better word. So that was a good little badge of honor today for the SWTS, and we can't forget to promote the content that he gave us. I've got it written down just in case Nick thought I'd forget, like a teacher sometimes do. But we got to talk about the alt high ground, the alt Padme, and the whole Yoda and Attack of the Clones was zero plan. AOTC. I just make sure
as soon as the cast finishes processing on YouTube, I'll go in and clip those out.
What's a good? Are you just gonna do like one main, or are you gonna try to like clickbait all three?
I'm going to do all of them separately.
Yeah, but you're going for like some good old Nick Caminita clickbaity type of titles like...
real ending of Rod's reveal.
Padme's supposed to almost die. Or the high ground was not a real scene. The high ground was a joke to everyone but George Lucas, essentially. I mean, that's what he was saying. Yeah. He's like, we all were like, what the fuck, man?
We're like, what are you, what?
I love him. But he still had that reverence. He's like, listen, man, that's George, loved the guy. It's his show, and we were there to play in his sandbox, essentially. But
I will say that, like, what Nick showed us, even that little demonstration that he did,
so much better
in like on the video, like that looked way cooler. Right. Then just fucking.
What it achieves, Nick, is it doesn't make Anakin look like a fucking idiot, and it makes Obi-Wan look even more badass and controlled. Because I mean, what he was saying essentially, Obi was getting force choked out, but because Anakin was so hawked, that's the other thing I liked. Like maybe you weave that in there. Like he wrote the fight, choreographed the fight based on the idea that Anakin just took a hit of smack. And that's why he could not, like, his power, which was greater than Kenobi, was just overflowing to the point where he really didn't have control, and that's what ultimately lost him the fight. But it would have, Anakin would have looked less like a dope and Obi-Wan more of a pimp, because as he was showing us, Obi was going to use the Force to essentially Snoke. He was going to Snoke Anakin before Snoke got Snoked. How's that?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what he was going.
Take his lightsaber from him and cut his own fucking shit off.
Yeah, I mean, as it was coming through on the Force, right? He was going to chop his arm, and then as he got it coming through, he chopped his legs off, and he said Anakin was just going to fall to his stumps.
He was
going to fall on his stumps and then probably lay over. Man, damn, that was fucking awesome. That would have been
so cool.
Yeah, we can't forget any of that. I think you'll have access to the recording. You could probably at least go back and re-listen to it. Anyways, let's get the fuck out of here. Sorry, people. It was good shit. I feel like we got some new stories out of him. I really do. I don't know. I guess we'd have to talk to Gallard superfans. Spencer could probably tell us. But I feel like he gave us some insights into Rots in particular that I, at least as a fanboy, never heard. So maybe we won something here.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Nick. Back to your fan segment, good sir.
Okay, fan segment. The first response this week is from Rebel Nursing. Says there were several cool moments from an action perspective, but Hauser's stand was definitely the best moment from a story and inspiration perspective. Takes real guts to stand up to your friends and family without attacking them when they are doing the wrong thing. It's all about family.
All right, Dom.
Next up. Thank you, Rebel Nursing. Next up is Kingdom of Weird in the chat. Here he is. Yeah, definitely Hauser's moment, which shows that Order 66 did its job in changing the clones' opinion and mental attitude towards the Jedi, and that they're still obedient and continue to follow orders. However, their individual behavior is starting to show back through. They still know the difference between right and wrong and are starting to realize that they're on the wrong side.
See, that's the fun part about this. Is to know that there are clones with this free will that still feel like the Empire is the way to go. And I think that's interesting.
Yeah. And I think it's a good call out too that Kingdom of Weird says, like, Order 66 was really like, it wasn't like be loyal to the Empire. It was kill the Jedi. So like now that like the Jedi are largely gone and that order has been executed and completed, like, they are kind of like, you know, just regular soldiers again. I don't think that they're being forced to like be loyal at all moments.
Right.
So I think that was a good
and
call
that's
out.
what we said. I mean, you know, take it to the bank. Clone Uprising is going to happen. That will be the true impetus for War Mantle and the replacement of clones for Stormtroopers. It's going down.
Yeah. Yeah. So good stuff there from Kingdom of
Grief
Weird.
Cardboard is back.
He's back. Grief Cardboard. He says, pretty simple for me. Everybody's favorite foul-mouthed droid, Chopper. I never know what he's saying, but I'm always excited. I'm always hearing F-bombs and other explicits peppered throughout his womps. I also like the scene where Hunter takes out the probe droid by stabbing it in the ocular, then nonchalantly pulls the blade out. Simply badass. Love the show, guys. I enjoy all the insights into the Star Wars universe you guys provide, even when it's the loud guy talking.
Hey, fuck you, Cardboard. I'm your biggest fan, you cocksucker.
Thank you, Grief Cardboard. See, that's how you make it into the mentions. You throw a little love in
he really,
for the guy.
Grief Cardboard has become a part of the show, because I don't, did you miss it last week? But even Johnny dropped in a Grief Cardboard mention.
He dropped in a Grief Cardboard.
See, it's all happening. Like I'm never ever going to be as delusional as some people. I know we're not stern. I'll never be stern. I'll never even be his foot. But we are trying to create like our own little universe of characters, even from the audience. And Grief Cardboard has officially become one when our own guests bring him up. Yeah, you know, he's like a high pitch Eric now. You know what I mean? It's fantastic.
I love it, man. I love it. All right, let's see. Next up, we have Lima 4 photos. He says Hauser's moment might be the obvious pick. For me, it's how some of the other clones in his squad put down their arms too. What's going on? I can't wait to find out. Yeah, that conditioning is starting to break. Yeah, like we were bringing up when we were talking about it.
Free will is coming back. Free will is coming back to the clones.
All right, Lima, thank you. And then the last one is Black Series Clips. Hera's shuttle scene was pretty good. Just started flying and is already blowing shit up. Yeah, I mean, right when she takes off, she just kind of veers off and smashes into 4 or 5 other ships, and then just continues
got to start
on to
somewhere, right? You
the-
can't become
the
an ace
Imperial
pilot
Refinery.
without your first takeoff. So
Yeah, you got to learn.
we didn't get to see it. She figured it out, and she definitely caused enough of a ruckus to accomplish their objectives. So it was good stuff.
A lot of havoc out there. Yeah. So appreciate it, everybody who responded to the question this week. And you can keep your eye out for the question every week on Tuesday mornings before we go live on the show. So just check the IG. The question will be there. And then before Tuesday mornings, you can catch our next segment, which is the top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week.
You know what we need to do before that, my friend? We kind of jacked it this week. Oh, you know what we need to do.
Oh, I know what we need to do.
You know what we need to do, and I'm getting it ready, so keep vamping for me. You know what we need to do, right? Okay.
We need to talk about the amazing sponsor of the Star Wars Time
That's
Show.
right.
For
Okay,
this
now
month
I
and
got it,
months
buddy.
Going forward.
Yeah, like Nick was saying, hey, guess what's about to happen or might not be happening thanks to COVID-19 and anti-vaxxers. But anyways, the Olympics, Euros, baseball, major championships and concerts are all in this summer. You know what isn't, my friends? Do you know what isn't? A wild and hairy bush. That's right. Tame your pubes with help from our friends at Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming. Their 4th generation performance package includes the brand new Lawnmower 4.0. If an athlete treats their body like royalty, why not treat your pubes like Olympic gold? Fellas, do right by your balls and join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com with the code SWTS, which is going to get you free shipping and 20% off your order. All right, dude, so we've been dealing with the Manscaped products for a couple months now, and it is hot.
Yep.
It's midsummer now. It's basically the summer's over. Like I told all of you, once July 4th hits, the summer's over. You know I'm right. Look, it's already July 20th. Time starts to fly. But it's getting hotter, and you don't want those pubes out there, and you definitely don't want to be hacking up your testicles with a standard hair shaver. We've all done it before. You go down there with, some clippers, and the whole time you're just going, please, please, please don't let it nick. Please don't let it nick my ball sack. Well, guess what? With Manscaped's products, in particular the Lawnmower 4.0, you're not going to get those nicks. All right? It's safe. Yep. I've been shaving my balls more than I have since high school thanks to these Manscaped products. Thanks to the Lawnmower 4.0. But more importantly, thanks to some of the grooming products that come in the Performance Package 4.0. That's right. The world, just like Nick and I, is starting to open their Performance Package 4.0s from Manscaped. And here you're going to find the Lawnmower 4.0, the trimmer. All right, the one you can use to trim those balls and armpits, whatever. The Weed Whacker for your ear and nose hair. But more importantly, what's become some of my favorite products from Manscaped, the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and the Crop Reviver Toner. All right. Plus, in this package, you also are going to get two free gifts in the form of the Performance Boxer Briefs and the Shed Travel Bag. So talk about a world-class dismount into a post-quarantine world. This package is the perfect package for your package and peak performance in whatever sport you desire. The brand new Lawnmower 4.0 is here to take the podium. The 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade, right? So no nicks and cuts.
Yeah.
To reduce grooming accidents thanks to advanced skin-safe technology. And I can vouch for that, and I believe Nick can too. I have yet to nick myself, and that is going with no attachment. So this Lawnmower 4.0 has 7,000 RPMs in its motor, a new multi-function on-off switch that has a travel lock that's very nice for those of you that travel. Plus, it has a 4000K LED just in case you need to see in those dark crevices down there. Did we mention that this trimmer is waterproof too? It sure is. Michael Phelps is drooling just thinking about the possibilities. This package also comes with the Weed Whacker to chop your worst weeds up top and both your nose and ear. This tool is a lock to take home the gold in the biathlon. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof, just like the Lawnmower 4.0, but it has a 9,000 RPM motor and a 360-degree rotary dual blade system. So no tugging on those nose hairs or ear hairs. And if you're someone like me that can braid the things coming out of your nostrils, the Weed Whacker is an excellent tool. So after you're trimming your pubes, make sure to show them some sportsmanship with Manscaped's liquid formulations. And this is no joke. The Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner are the key to feeling victorious this year. I have never felt more manly than I do now, knowing that I have my ball deodorant on from Manscaped. I love it. If I feel like I'm losing that manliness feeling, I go get the Reviver and give it a few spritz and we're good to go. All right. So in addition to all this stuff in the Performance Package 4.0, don't forget you get a great pair of boxers and the Shed travel bag. So don't forget, my friends, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code SWTS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code SWTS at manscaped.com. Achieve pubic glory this year with Manscaped.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, no joke, though. I mean, I am 100% going to be a longtime user of the shower gel, the ball deodorant, and the foot spray. I love it. Just makes me feel pretty inside and outside.
Yeah, I love it. All right. It's good stuff.
Let's get back to that top 5 Star Wars features of the week.
All right. This week is from 7/12 to 7/19. I didn't put it in the title, but it's okay. It's from 7/12 to 7/19. And we kick off this week with a pretty gory shot here from @NeuralMalice. And this shot shows
another first and first from Nick here.
I'm so good at that.
You are. It's like
that.
You sense them out through the forest, and you're like, you know what? This seems like a brand new account that Matt just featured for the first time, so I'm going to give them the glory right away and get them hooked to that SWTS crack.
There we go. Honed in. And this shot here is a shot from the Clone Wars. So we see 2 clones on the battlefield. One with his leg just completely fucking gory, blown off.
Always love it.
The other one is like pulling him out of the battle, shooting his gun. He's, come on, man, we gotta go.
Even the dude with his leg, like the leg's blown off like at his hip, and he still has his blaster up. He's like, I'm gonna get these motherfucking clankers, like, pa, pa, pa.
Oh man, this reminds me. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of, and I wonder if NeuralMalice took some like inspiration for Band of Brothers, because like in that one episode of Band of Brothers, when they're like at the Battle of the Bulge, they're all in the forest, they're getting shelled, and at one point, like some dude gets his leg blown off, and they literally like they're dragging his ass out.
They don't realize
like his bloody stump is just sitting there. Like it's fucking crazy. But yeah, I mean, like clearly the clones are in some sort of like forested battlefield, because you can see like tree stumps sitting there on fire. There's just fucking debris everywhere.
Skulls. This is a true battlefield, and it feels that way. I mean, this I'm assuming is an outdoor shot. Looks like it's going almost full practical outside the blaster bolt effect there. So I'm gonna love that. I mean, outside natural light with practical effects. Always appreciate those style of shots, but I'm also a sucker for the gore. I don't know, I'm demented. I like fucked up gory movies, but I also like seeing toys getting into some gory situations. So seeing a whole leg separated, but the fact that NeuralMalice, went the extra mile and added in the blood, and there's almost looks like there's some meat in there, right? Like some of the tendons and shit hanging out. So job well done overall by @NeuralMalice on Instagram. And real quick, if you're new to this segment and why we do the top 5, on Instagram @Star Wars Time Show, every day we are looking to see your Star Wars art in any form. Real ass paint, the toy photography scene, tattoos, cosplay, customizations, you name it, we want to see it. And the best way to make us see it is to tag us in your Star Wars work, and also use hashtag Star Wars Time Show. Hashtag. That was a real East Coast Midwest fucked up accent right there. Yeah. Tag. Hashtag. But anyways, to get featured and make it to this level of glory, Make sure to tag us at Star Wars Time Show. Use hashtag Star Wars Time Show. And every day I will go through both of those categories on our page and share upwards of 12 or more shots a day. And at the end of the week, Nick goes through all of those shots and picks his 5 favorite. And that leads us to the segment where you get honored, you get promoted, you get exposed. At least until we talk over your exposure with our own exposure. So
yeah, exactly.
There you have it for you noobs, if there are any.
All right. So at Neural Malice on Instagram, it's a beautiful shot. Absolutely, just it's one of the more gory shots that we've seen in a while on the top 5.
Yeah, the whole I feel like the blood work, the blood splatter in toy photography, it kind of died out, I don't know, 16, 17, and people started moving into the more elaborate dioramas and just fucking crazy shit, like the stuff that Plastic Action or Jason B cooks up. It's like, what the fuck? Like, man, I want to do whatever drugs you guys do. It's probably none, and that's why they do it.
So. Yeah, they're mentally no mental fog.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, next up in the top 5 is at Gree01, and we have a very clean, crisp shot of 2. I mean, are these aren't Death Troopers?
No, these are these are from Bad Batch, Nick. These are the Elite Squad troopers. So we've seen a few of these in every episode, but they're only always with Crosshair. They're like his personal platoon.
Yeah, his personal.
But I actually think these look better because it looks like Gree gave them black paint, because they actually are very, very dull kind of gray paint in hand. I mean, I was
going
to
say they look very shiny.
Yeah. So I
look very like.
I don't know if Gree, painted them or customized them. It even looks like he tweaked their visor to be a little shinier. I'm not sure if that's an effect or paint itself, but the figures themselves definitely look altered, which I don't know. Maybe that's what sells the shot. But it's just, to me, it's a well posed shot of troopers, and that's usually all you need to do to kind of tickle my taint.
Yeah, I mean, I love bucket heads as well. So I mean, if you can toss one of those in there, make it look cool, then hey, you got a good shot. I just like the setup. I like the posing by both of the troopers, shooting off in the distance. The little, the bokeh effect coming in from the top and bottom. I don't know if it's, I don't know if it's necessary, but I think it works. It adds a little bit of atmosphere to the shot, and
it's just I can't tell you, man.
Nice.
I mean, the figures help, but it is a bitch to pose these little cunts to make it look like they actually know how to hold a blaster. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that's one thing. Like their actual gun poses are very good.
To actually get them up to look like where they're somewhat trying to aim. I mean, that's no small task, especially depending on what type of figure you have and what's blocking what type of range of motion. But I mean, I don't know. I just any shot of a bucket head, like Nick said, that's posed well is pretty much a no-brainer for me. I'm drawn to them. I've always been drawn to the Empire's aesthetic over the good guys. What am I? I guess you could say I'm dark side at heart, but they just fucking look cooler. Deal with it. All right, so that is
all right.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, at Gree01 on Instagram. Well done. Next up,
I love this.
Is this one? This was just a fun shot. This is from at Andrea_toy photography, and what we see is Bombad General Jar Jar Binks here with his shield, standing under a bottle of wine that's on a wine rack, and it's just kind of pouring wine down onto him.
It's great.
And I've been into this. I don't know if it's just because sometimes you see a lot of the same shots, but I've been really into seeing these toys in real world practical environments. It's just a change of pace, and I thought that this was done really well.
It really is, Nick. It's kind of a genre. Toys being toys within the real world. It's not like we're trying to make them not look like toys. Andrea, she's kind of playing on the fact that it is a toy, but also a toy in the real world. Like what would a little Jar Jar Binks figure that came out of the cupboard from Indian in the Cupboard do? And apparently he'd try to get himself fucking wasted on some wine.
You can see he's got the cork in one hand, he's got the shield in the other. I just thought it was really fun. And if you look at, she actually did a couple of like real worldish shots like this.
Over there and
so
check it out.
Her last one was of Mando and of Gideon playing Connect 4 with Grogu, like fucking with all the pieces.
I love it.
I thought that was really fun. And if you scroll down, she's done like a Sir Dork style Red Bull can cut off with Ahsoka. Like she's got Ahsoka kind of cutting the head off of a Red Bull can. So you can see that she's got a lot of different styles and a lot of different environments that she does her shots in.
Yeah, let's go.
Really
let's get her a like Sir Dork. Let's get her a wine deal and some Red Bull, right? You know,
I know.
Let's get her hooked up. Start blowing up some bottles of wine with action figures.
Yeah, even down towards the bottom, you got the TMNT bros kicking a Monster energy can and like the fucking drinks going everywhere. So I like her brain, you know, from what I can tell. I like the way that she thinks about toy photography.
Vader fighting a Guinness can. I like that.
Oh yeah, dude, that was good too. Yeah.
See, there you go, Jared. Look at this.
Andrea
going for the booze. You know, the booze is better than energy drinks. Let's go. Let's get some booze shots.
I wonder if she is a follower of the Dork, because it looks like, you know, obviously Jared does this kind of stuff with Mountain Dew cans, and it looks like Andrea might have taken some inspiration from those types of images.
It's just cool. I mean,
so.
It's all practical effects too, so I always applaud that, just because, you know, I know it's something I can do. So it's like, oh, I might be able to try this, even though I would never come up with an idea like this. I'm stupid, and that's okay. I like being stupid at this hobby. But it is great. I actually caught wind of this one from Jason B. I was in his story, and he's like, "Oh, I love this shot." I was like, "Man, I hope she tags us so I remember." And sure enough, she did, and here we are. So it's kick ass. I love it, and I do have a feeling after he let it drained out, he then began to swim in it and slurp it up and get himself a little fucked up. Yeah,
a little drunk. Like the mummer he becomes on the alleyways of Tatooine.
That is his fate. That is his fate.
So good stuff. At Andrea ANDREA _ toy photography on Instagram. Next up, we have at Drew Originals with a very awesome looking Vader shot. So like this is I guess an alternate universe where like Vader is in the battle.
It's like Robot Chicken type of scenario here, right?
Yeah. So you see Vader, he's on a speeder bike, he's got his saber drawn, and he's chasing down 2 Ewoks, and it looks like he's about to cut both of them down on the speeder bike. I mean, just the way that Vader is posed is fantastic, especially the cape. He's got that cape whipping through the wind. I mean, the running poses of both of the Ewoks is just fantastic.
Is that Paplu and Tebow, I think?
Yeah. Yeah,
you know what this reminds me of, Nick? I mean, it was probably in Game of Thrones, but like medieval type of movies or whatnot. You know, where
you got a guy on a horse.
Yeah, you have a badass knight on a horse chasing down like civilians and just whacking their heads or cutting their arms off and stuff. Like I feel like this is Vader just fucking with the locals, you know, just coming in and really flexing. Instead of being on a horse, he's on a speeder, and he's just arbitrarily hacking apart Ewoks. You know, like Tebow may lose an arm where Paplu loses a leg, and then they just sit there and bleed out. Like,
God. Yeah, I mean, if Vader would have been on the battlefield,
going after the women and children, basically, like that's what this is to me.
During the final battle on Endor, maybe it would have gone a little bit differently, but we'll see.
Could you see that? Like in Return of the Jedi, he's like, yeah, fuck this shit. I'm not dealing with Luke. You deal with Luke, Palpatine. I'm going down here. Yeah. And he goes down to the Endor surface and just single-handedly wins the battle by riding around on a speeder and just hacking the fuck out of everybody.
Yeah, just fucking ripping everybody out.
You see this red streak, like zoom, and a bunch of heads fly up, and zoom, arms fly up, and zoom. There goes some legs. I love it.
It would have been over. The rebellion would have crumbled. But yeah, at Drew Originals on Instagram with the fantastic take here of Vader ripping up the
It just seems like
endorser.
Vader is kind of getting off on doing this. Like, he's doing this for pure pleasure, right? Like,
yeah, just for fun.
like, you know, people might have gone out and, you know, when I was an idiot in high school, we'd drive around and find roadkill to run over, and we thought that was funny as fuck. Or throw pop cans at signs from moving cars, because whatever, that's what fucking teenage boys do. Destructive shit. Like, I could see this, like, hey, Palpatine, I just need to take a breather. I'm going to go try to knock off some Ewok heads on my speeder. I'll be right back. You know, like mailbox baseball.
Just gotta let off some steam.
Yeah, mailbox baseball, stuff like that. So, oh, Vader, you
Good
cheeky
shit.
motherfucker.
At Drew Originals on Instagram. Go give him a follow. All right. Last up for the top 5 this week. This is at faceless_trooper. And this is just like a super clean Mando shot.
Oh, yeah.
Super clean. This is not full Beskar Mando. This is like season 1 ratty armor Mando. And he's just out in the brush. He's out in a field. And it almost looks like he's kind of hunting quarry. You know, he's like in the tall grass. He's got his gun at his not quite at the ready, but you know,
It just
in his hands.
looks
and
like he's
kind of
chilling. Yeah, it's like it's almost like he's reflecting on what he has to do or what he's already done. And that's the sell for me. I mean, obviously it's outdoor light. The light's captured brilliantly. The figure looks great. There's not a lot of flash and bullshit. He's in like almost like a hayfield, tall grass. But I think it's that just very casual stance pose where he's kind of holding his rifle. And you really can, Nick. It's like you can sit and look at this picture and feel Din contemplating something, reflecting upon something. And that's what really kind of sells the alive feeling of this toy photography shot.
Yeah, definitely. And I've seen people in the comments on the top 5 posts saying that they would love to see this like poster size, like put it on the wall type of shit. I mean, it is.
Yeah, I mean, this is something like we don't have a lot of family pictures around. I don't know why. I mean, it's just not my wife's biggest priority. She is career focused, which is fantastic. But we literally have like placeholders mounted on the wall with the generic like fake family picture still in it.
Just a fake family.
Yeah, I'm gonna replace one of them with this thing. You know, just
yeah, I know.
Just like, throw this up there. Like, hey, give me the rights to print it faceless, and I'm gonna mount that in my family room as a member of the Haywoods. Let's call my long lost cousin Din, who lived in a dumpster or a bunker, right? That's what Nick said. He lived in a bunker for too long.
He was in a bunker. You know, he just got out.
Derpy Din,
having a tough time.
Oh, I'll save the day. I'll stand in front of all these blaster bolts for you. Tink, 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 tink.
Couldn't do it in this armor, I'll tell you that. If he took those shots in this armor, he'd be fucking roasted.
The old ratty armor. But no, great shot from at faceless_trooper, one of my personal favorites on Instagram. Predominantly a 1/6 scale account, but just good lighting, kind of simple setups, but because of the lighting and the posing and just the eye, a really pleasurable account to follow at faceless_trooper.
Yeah, and that's the end of the top 5 for this week, and that's the end of the show. I hope y'all enjoyed it. This was a banger of a show. Thanks to Nick Gillard for coming in.
Damn straight.
And Matt, take us home.
Boy, yeah, I mean, probably one of our best episodes to date, if not the best episode to date. And that's not putting down any of our other interviewees. I truly think we got some good nuggets from Nick Gillard today in his stories, talking about Revenge of the Sith and some of the cut scenes that he wishes, and it sounds like a lot of the cast wishes made it to the light of day. Some great revelations about the final duel between Kenobi and Skywalker and Padme. Some awesome insights into how Yoda came to be a fighter in Attack of the Clones. So, hey, you never know what's going to happen on the Star Wars Time Show, but I can tell you one thing, and that is to always make sure you're checking out StarWarsTime.net. That is our home base. That's where you're going to see the content. That's where you can get the audio-only versions of the show. Obviously, you can Subscribe to YouTube to do the live streams, which we do pretty much every Tuesday in between 2 and 3 p. East. So get subbed, but that's another reason to head to StarWarsTime.net, because if you don't feel like looking for all of our links, they're there for you. We've got a very handy-dandy subscribe to podcast section up there in the top, or the hamburger menu if you're on a mobile device. And if you keep scrolling down on any device, you should find our Star Wars Time on YouTube call to action, which has a handy-dandy subscribe button that will auto-subscribe you to the show. Yes, everyone, we gave Spencer his credit. All right, we'll make him a statue for the show at some point in time. So thank you to Spa for getting Gallard, but thank you to us for making it a great interview. Right? We can never give. I already gave Nick too much credit on this show, so we need to shift the credit back to myself. All right, let's go. You guys know how this works. No one else is allowed to get any credit or do anything good on the Star Wars Time show but myself. So anyways, Star Wars, and I'm just fucking around for you sensitive types. Get over it. Again, StarWarsTime.net, that's really the best place to go to find any and all things you need to know about the Star Wars Time show. How about that? I'm gonna go blow something. I just, had a little ditty going on right there, but I didn't want to keep doing the rhymes with the blows and the nose, and where that was about the head. All right, so StarWarsTime.net. Let's do it. There's always time for Star Wars Time. Let people know. I mean, look, today you tuned in. You might not even know Mr. Gallard was going to be on here, and look at the treasures he gave us. So that's how you sell this little show. You just never know. It truly is a shit show that you're never going to know what's going to happen from week to week, outside of getting some deep takes, good or bad, on all things you need to know about that galaxy from far, far away. There's always time for Star Wars Time, people. Tell them. Shout it from the top of the hills. There's always time for Star Wars Time. That's my falsetto. I don't usually break that out too often. All right, I'm not warmed up, so I'm going to stop right there and just leave you with this. If you listen to the Star Wars Time show, the Force will be with you. Always.